Digest of Ohio Motor Vehicle Laws. Ohio's driver licensing system is outlined by the Ohio Revised Code. Chapter 4507 states that no person shall operate a motor vehicle on any public road or any public or private property used by the public for vehicular travel or parking unless the operator has passed the required tests and obtained a license from the Registrar of Motor Vehicles. Ohio BMV driver license examinations and driver license issuance is the responsibility of the Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles. While the vast majority of Ohio motorists hold a regular driver's license, officially called a driver license Class D, the state also issues a number of other licenses: commercial driver licenses, motorcycle licenses, or endorsement, and motorized bicycle license, or moped. How to obtain an Ohio driver license. Persons applying for a first Ohio motor vehicle driver license must be at least 15 years and 6 months of age and must provide documentary proof of their full legal name, age, social security number, citizenship or legal presence, and address upon visiting the driver license exam station and deputy registrar. If under 18 years of age, the application must be co-signed at the deputy registrar by a parent or a legal guardian at the time of application. A co-signer must present either a valid Ohio driver license or valid Ohio ID card or prove all 5 elements. All applicants must pass a vision test and a knowledge test to obtain a temporary instruction permit identification card, and applications under 16 years of age must practice driving with a licensed parent or legal guardian that occupies the seat next to them. If 16 years of age or older, they may practice driving with a licensed driver 21 years of age or older, occupying the seat next to them. First license requirements also apply to drivers who have allowed their license to expire for more than 6 months, and to persons who must apply for a new license after losing their license due to a suspension or revocation. Vertical driver licenses issued to persons under the age of 21 will have a red header bar, and the primary photo will be on the left side. Additionally, the wording under 21 or under 18 will appear on the vertical driver license. Ohio driver license for those aged 21 and older will have a horizontal driver license with a yellow header bar, and the primary photo will be on the left side. There are different application procedures for new Ohio residents who already hold a valid license from another state, for persons who wish to apply for a commercial driver license, and for persons who wish to apply for a motorcycle endorsement or a motorized bicycle operator's license. In order to apply, proof of identity is required containing the following 5 elements. 1. Legal first name, middle name or middle initial, and current last name. 2. Date of birth. 3. Social security number, if ever assigned. 4. U.S. citizenship or U.S. legal presence. And 5. Resident street address in Ohio. The following is a list of acceptable documents which an applicant may provide, which will contain the 5 elements necessary to prove their identity. Primary acceptable documents must include the date of birth. These documents would include the certificate of birth, a certified copy of court order, a concealed weapons permit, a driver's license, military identification, offender's release identification card, state-issued identification card, state-issued learner's permit, United States Citizenship and Immigration Service USCIS documents, or a valid passport. Secondary acceptable documents must include the Social Security number if not on the primary document, Bureau of American Indian Affairs card or American Indian Treaty card, certified copy of a court order, a credit card, employer identification card, foreign birth certificate, gun permit, health insurance card, Internal Revenue Service or state tax form, marriage certificate, medical records, military discharge documentation, motor vehicle title, pilot's license, public assistance benefit card, school record or transcript, Social Security documentation, student identification card, or voter registration card. Proof of U.S. citizenship or legal presence. Documents include certificate of birth, a United States passport, A United States passport card, a naturalization document, proof of residency in Ohio. If the primary and secondary documents presented do not establish the applicant's current Ohio residence street address, the applicant shall present additional documents containing the applicant's name and current address within Ohio to establish that address to the satisfaction of the registrar or deputy registrar. A post office box or other mailbox address is not acceptable. The following documents shall be acceptable if the applicant's current Ohio residence street address is included in the document. Certification of residency from a nursing home or homeless shelter on a Certified Statement of Residency, BMV 2336 form. Change of address card. Checking, savings account, and online bank statements within the last 60 days. Child support check stub from the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. Copy of federal or Ohio income tax return filing not more than 18 months old with proof of filing. Court order of probation, order of parole, or order of mandatory release. Current and valid premises liability, life insurance, or automobile liability policy or card with address. In the case of a dependent child, the BMV may accept a certified statement of residency from the child's parent or guardian signed in the presence of a BMV official. In the case of a married person, the BMV may accept a certified statement of residency from the applicant's spouse signed in the presence of a BMV official. Proof of marital relationship is required. Installment loan contract from a bank or other financial institution. Major credit card statement or major retail store credit card statement with Ohio street address issued within the last 60 days. Mortgage account or proof of home ownership. Ohio BMV vehicle registration mail-in renewal notice. Ohio certificate of title. Ohio resident hunting or fishing license, current or previous year. Paycheck stub issued within the last 6 months. Professional license issued by an Ohio governmental agency. Property tax bill or receipt. Public assistance check stub or food stamp card issued by a governmental agency or letter on government agency letterhead within the last 12 months. Sales tax or business license. School records. Selective Service Registration Acknowledgement Card. Social Security Administration document with Ohio street address. Transportation Security Administration letter. Utility bill from an electric, telephone, water, sewer, cable, satellite, heating oil, or propane provider issued within the last 60 days. Valid concealed weapons permit. Valid Ohio voter registration card, or any other genuine and reliable document approved by the BMV registrar, not the deputy registrar. Instructions for first driver license applicants. Study and learn all material in this digest. Visit any Ohio BMV driver exam station. No appointment is necessary to take the driver knowledge test and vision screening, but be sure to verify days and hours of operation for each exam station. To obtain an Ohio Temporary Instruction Permit Identification Card, driver's license, CDL, ID, motorcycle or moped license, the applicant must present documents to prove all of the following elements: full legal name, first name, middle name, current last name, date of birth, Social Security number, if one has ever been assigned, U.S. citizenship or legal presence, and residence street address in Ohio. Please be advised that failure to present the required documentation could result in denial of your temporary instruction permit identification card when reporting to the Deputy Registrar's office. At the exam station, your vision will be tested to determine if it meets minimum standards established by law. If you need corrective lenses to meet these standards, your license may be restricted to driving only when you are wearing such lenses. In certain cases, persons with substandard vision may qualify for a restricted license which permits them to drive during daylight hours only. The application will contain a number of questions about your physical health with regard to any medical conditions. These questions must be answered truthfully and completely. Making a false statement on your application is grounds for a criminal prosecution and revocation of your license. If you have a physical condition that might affect your ability to operate a motor vehicle, the examiner will explain what steps you need to take and will provide the necessary medical forms to be completed by your doctor. The examiner will take your photograph. You must pass a driver knowledge test on Ohio motor vehicle regulations and traffic signs. The questions are multiple choice and are based on the material in this digest. You must answer 75% of the questions correctly. After you have successfully passed your vision and knowledge exams, you may obtain a receipt with a confirmation number to present at a Deputy Registrar agency to obtain your temporary instruction permit identification card within 60 days of passing your knowledge exam. You must bring documents that verify your full legal name, first name, middle name, current last name, date of birth, Social Security number if one has ever been assigned, U.S. citizenship or legal presence, and resident street address in Ohio. After verifying your acceptable documents and your photo image, the deputy will proceed with the issuance of your temporary instruction permit identification card. This temporary instruction permit identification card must be retained on your person at all times during each step of the licensing process. If you lose this card, please visit your local Deputy Registrar agency and purchase a replacement temporary instruction permit identification card. Important: if you are under 18 years of age, your application must be co-signed by a parent or legal guardian at the time you apply. A co-signer must also present all 5 elements from the acceptable documents list requirements. A parent or guardian must accompany any applicant who is under 18 years of age to the Deputy Registrar agency. The temporary instruction permit identification card authorizes you to practice for your skills test by driving on the street, but only when accompanied by a licensed driver 21 years of age or older occupying the seat beside you. If you are under age 16, you must drive with a parent, guardian, or certified driving instructor occupying the seat beside you. Your temporary instruction permit identification card will expire 1 year from the date of issuance. Ohio law prohibits any eligible adult occupying the seat beside the person driving on a temporary instruction permit identification card from having a concentration of alcohol in the whole blood, blood serum or plasma, breath, or urine. If under 18 years of age, the temporary instruction permit identification card must have been held for 6 months before you may take your skills test. If your temporary instruction permit identification card expires before you take and pass the skills test, you must return to the driver license exam station and retake and pass the knowledge and vision exams. Restrictions: safety belts must be available to all passengers and everyone must be buckled up for all holders of temporary permits. Licensed drivers who are 16 years old may not operate a motor vehicle with more than one person who is not a family member unless accompanied by the parent, guardian, or custodian. If you are a temporary instruction permit identification card holder under 18, you may not drive between midnight and 6 a.m. unless with a parent, guardian, or custodian who holds a valid license. If you are a license holder and 16 years old, you may not drive between midnight and 6 a.m. unless with a parent or guardian, with the following exceptions. The license holder is driving to or from a school activity, in an emergency situation, or to or from work with written documentation from the holder's employer. If you are a license holder and 17 years of age, you may not drive between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. unless with a parent or guardian, with the following exceptions. The license holder is driving to or from a school activity, in an emergency situation, or to or from work with written documentation from the license holder's employer. If a license holder who is 16 pleads guilty to, is convicted of, or is adjudicated in juvenile court of committing a moving violation during the first 6 months in which they have received their license, the driver must be accompanied by a parent or guardian whenever operating a motor vehicle for 6 months or until the holder turns 17, unless the court or juvenile court imposes such a restriction upon the holder. When you have developed your driving skills, contact any exam station to schedule a skills test. If you are unable to keep the appointment, notify the exam station as soon as possible so someone else can be scheduled. All customers taking the skills test must understand directions given in the English language. When you go to the exam station to take your skills test, you must bring your valid temporary instruction permit identification card. Customers who are under 18 years of age must also bring a driver education certificate and the notarized 50 hours affidavit. You must furnish a vehicle for your road test, and it must be in safe operating condition. Before your test is administered, the examiner will inspect your vehicle. If it cannot pass inspection, the examiner can refuse to administer a test. During the driving portion, the examiner will ask you to perform a number of driving tasks. These may include stopping and starting, turning around, backing, making proper left and right turns, giving hand signals or using mechanical turn signals, driving in the proper lane, and maintaining a safe following distance. The purpose of the skills test is to determine whether you have successfully developed the required ability to operate your motor vehicle safely. To schedule a road test, visit www.ohiodrivingtest.com. The skills test has two parts, driving and maneuverability. During the test, you must have your safety belt fastened and drive with both hands on the steering wheel for complete control. The maneuverability test is conducted in 2 steps. Each step is to be completed in one continuous motion. The only instructions you will be given by the examiner are to steer to the right or to the left of the point marker. Step 1. You must drive forward through a box 9 feet by 20 feet formed by 4 markers. Please note, all measurements are made from the center of the cone. Steer to the right or left of the point marker, 20 feet ahead of the box in the center of the course, as directed by the examiner. Steer to a straight-ahead course and stop when the rear bumper of your car is even with the point marker and generally parallel with the course. Step 2. From your stopped position at the end of Step 1, you must be able to back past the point marker. Straighten your car and back through the box and come to a stop with your front bumper even with the 2 rear markers and generally parallel with the course. During this step, if you stop your vehicle because you hit a marker, you must go back to the start and begin Step 2 again. Before the test is complete, your vehicle must be removed from the test area without running over a marker or committing any other dangerous action. When you have successfully completed your test skills, the examiner may provide you with a receipt acknowledging completion of your skills test. You are not authorized to operate a motor vehicle without a licensed driver occupying the seat beside you. The Ohio driver license must be obtained before the expiration of your temporary instruction permit identification card. You must proceed to the deputy registrar and surrender your temporary instruction permit identification card. You will also be required to present acceptable documents and pay all applicable fees. For current fees, visit www.ohiobmv.com. Applicants under the age of 18 must be accompanied by a parent or legal guardian to co-sign, who must also present either a valid driver license or a valid Ohio ID card or 2 other forms of acceptable documents verifying identification. Scoring. Points are deducted for stopping to check progress, bumping markers, misjudging stopping distance, not parallel with test area, or immediate failure, running over or knocking down a marker, removing a marker completely from its designated area, or other dangerous action. Note: the parent or legal guardian who co-signs a minor's application for a license is jointly and severally liable with the minor for any damages caused by negligence or willful misconduct while operating a motor vehicle until the minor has passed his or her 18th birthday. If the minor is involved in a collision, co-signer liability can be eliminated by filing proof of financial responsibility on behalf of the minor with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Driver education requirement. If you are applying for a driver license before your 18th birthday, you must obtain either commercial or high school driver education consisting of 24 hours classroom instruction and 8 hours of driving instruction. You should also provide a notarized affidavit signed by a parent or guardian verifying your completion of 50 hours of driving experience before taking the skills test. At least 10 of these hours must be night driving. A driver education certificate must be presented when taking the skills test. To find the current list of driver training schools, refer to www.drivertraining.ohio.gov and click on Approved Schools. To schedule a road test, visit www.ohiodrivingtest.com. Failure to pass test. If you fail the knowledge test, you must wait at least 24 hours before retaking the exam. When taking the skills test, you will usually take the maneuverability test first. Upon successful completion of the maneuverability test, the road skills test will be administered. If you fail either of the tests, you must wait at least 7 days before retesting. Only the section you failed must be retaken. If you fail the skills test 4 times, you must wait 6 months before retesting. Foreign language tests, oral tests, tests for hearing impaired. Customers may take the knowledge test in Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, Russian, French, Somali, and Japanese. In order to pass, however, all customers must be able to understand directions and read traffic signs printed in English. For information on how to take a knowledge test in any other language, contact any driver license exam station. At the discretion of the examiner, those who cannot read or write well enough to take a knowledge test may be permitted to take an audio version of the test in English. All such applicants must at least be able to read and comprehend traffic signs. The hearing impaired who are unable to read or write well enough to take a knowledge test may take a knowledge test administered by an interpreter or in video format. Non-renewable, non-transferable driver license. Temporary residents who are foreign nationals residing in Ohio temporarily may obtain a non-renewable, non-transferable Ohio driver license, not to exceed 4 years, which expires on the date indicated on the appropriate document issued by the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. A non-renewable, non-transferable driver license allows individuals to drive in Ohio and other states, but it cannot be transferred to another state. The words non-renewable, non-transferable will appear on the driver license card below the signature. Non-U.S. citizens who are applying for a temporary instruction permit identification card must follow the instructions for first driver license applicants. After you have successfully passed your vision and knowledge test, you must visit a deputy registrar agency where driver licenses are issued. You must bring your key number, issued by the exam station, to the deputy registrar and the following documents: a valid unexpired passport or passport card, a U.S. visa, Form I-94 issued by the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, and one of the following: USCIS Form I-20 student or student dependent, or USCIS Form IAP 66 or DS 2019 exchange visitor status, or USCIS Employment Eligibility Verification not expired more than 60 days, or any other BCIS issued document approved by the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. You will be required to present unexpired documents verifying your legal presence in the United States at the time of renewal or for any other driver license transaction requested throughout the duration of your stay. This rule also applies to those under the age of 21. Persons who cannot obtain a driver license. Under Ohio law, no driver license or temporary instruction permit identification card may be issued to any person who, 1. In the opinion of the Registrar of Motor Vehicles, is suffering from a physical or mental disability or disease which prevents the person from exercising reasonable and ordinary control over a motor vehicle on the highways. 2. Is unable to understand traffic signs and directions in the English language. 3. Is an alcoholic or is addicted to the use of drugs or controlled substances to the extent that such use impairs a person's ability to operate a motor vehicle. 4. Has been judged mentally ill or incompetent and has not been restored to competency by a judicial decree. 5. Is or has been subject to any condition, such as epilepsy, resulting in episodic impairment of consciousness or loss of muscular control, unless a qualified physician certifies that such condition is under control of medication or remission. 6. Is under suspension or revocation from Ohio or another jurisdiction. 7. Is not a citizen of the United States due to legal presence law without legal documentation. Restricted license. Persons with certain medical problems or disabilities are issued restricted driver licenses which impose some limitation on driving privileges. Many common restrictions, lenses required, all hand controls, special mirrors required, can be noted by the examiner and indicated on your license. A restricted license may be issued to any person otherwise qualified. A person who is subject to a condition must present a statement from a licensed physician that the condition is under effective medical control, stating the period of time for which such control has been continuously maintained. Even when provided with a statement, the registrar may refuse a license if subsequent medical examinations are given and grounds for denial of a license are found. Physician statement forms are furnished by the exam stations when a physical or mental disability is indicated. If continued medical reports are required in order to revalidate a restricted license, the necessary forms are furnished by the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Military personnel. Every person on active duty and for 6 months following discharge from active duty, and any member of the United States Armed Forces, Peace Corps, or VISTA is exempt from Ohio driver licensing requirements, providing that person held a valid Ohio driver license at the time he or she entered the military service. Any Ohio resident returning to Ohio after being honorably discharged from the military service, Peace Corps, or VISTA, without a mental or physical disability that would affect driving, may renew his or her expired driver license without undergoing a new examination, providing a. the person held a valid Ohio license when entering the military service, and b. the renewal application is filed no later than 6 months following the discharge. These provisions also apply to military spouses and dependents. There are provisions in place for active duty military and their dependents to renew or apply for a replacement of their Class D operator driver's license via mail while they are stationed outside the state of Ohio. The request for an out-of-state renewal packet should be made by contacting our telecommunications department at 614-752-7600 or www.ohiobmv.com by clicking on Contact BMV and email the registrar. Farm vehicle operators. Under Ohio law, no person is required to obtain a driver license for the sole purpose of operating a road roller, other road machinery, farm tractor, or other farm implement which is drawn or propelled on a street or highway. Any person who operates a passenger car or a truck registered as a farm vehicle on public roadways is required to hold a valid license. Renewing your license. Unless you receive a short-term medically restricted license, your Ohio driver license will expire on your 4th birthday after the date of issuance. If renewed more than 90 days before expiration, it will expire 3 years after issuance. If a license is issued prior to your 21st birthday, the license will expire on your 21st birthday. If you are under age 21, you are not eligible for renewal unless you are within 30 days of your 21st birthday. It is your responsibility to know when your license will expire. The expiration date is printed on the face of every license. To obtain a renewal license, 1. Go to the nearest deputy registrar license agency at any time before your license expires. You will need to present your Ohio driver license and any additional documents if requested. If you renew more than 90 days before your expiration date, you will have to renew again in 3 years rather than 4 years. 2. If you are eligible to renew and successfully complete the vision screening examination, the deputy registrar will update information on your license, collect the proper fees, take your photo, and issue your new 4-year license immediately. For current fees, visit www.ohiobmv.com. Note: there is no grace period for renewing your license. If you continue to drive on your license after it is expired, you will be risking a traffic citation. If you fail to renew within 45 days after the date of expiration, the BMV will mail an expiration notice to your last known address. Regardless of this notice, you will still be subject to a citation for driving on an expired license. If you fail to renew within 6 months of your license expiration date, you will no longer be eligible for a renewal. In order to obtain a new license, you will have to complete all driver license examinations. Duplicate licenses. If your driver's license is lost or stolen, destroyed or damaged, confiscated or suspended, a duplicate license can be obtained at your local deputy registrar agency. You will need verification of your identification by presenting one acceptable document. If the Deputy Registrar is able to verify your identity with the BMV database, your new license will be issued to you at the agency. A fee is charged for the duplicate license, which expires on the expiration date of your original license. For current fees, visit www.ohiobmv.com. Holders of a foreign driver license. Motorists who are residents of other nations and who are bona fide tourists visiting the United States may drive up to 1 year with their own national license plates, registration tags on their vehicle, and with their own driver license. United States motorists may drive in foreign countries under the same conditions. These reciprocal privileges are made possible by the United Nations Conventions on Road Traffic, Geneva 1949. If the name of the foreign motorist nation is not recognized, a tourist will have to purchase license plates and obtain a driver license upon arrival in the United States. Every visiting motorist from a ratifying country should also carry an international driving permit, but this is not obligatory. This permit, printed in the official languages of the United Nations, is helpful when local police speak only one language and may be essential in the case of an emergency. Even with an international driving permit, visiting motorists must have a valid license issued in their country of residence. If you are a holder of a valid foreign driver license and wish to convert to an Ohio driver license, you must take and pass all required tests: vision, knowledge, driving, and maneuverability. People from some countries may need to obtain a temporary instruction permit identification card. If your country does not have reciprocal privileges with the United States, you must visit an Ohio BMV driver license exam station. Regulations regarding license use. 1. Failure to display license. A person must display a driver license or furnish proof of having a license upon demand of any police officer or person injured in a collision. 2. Fraud. No person may display or possess a driver license knowing the license is fictitious or has been canceled, revoked, suspended, or altered. 3. No person may use a false or fictitious name or address on a license application. 4. Lending license. No licensed driver may lend or knowingly keep another person's license to use. 5. Failure to surrender license. No person shall fail to surrender to the Registrar of Motor Vehicles upon demand a license or temporary instruction permit identification card which has been suspended, canceled, or revoked. 6. No person shall authorize or knowingly permit a motor vehicle owned by him or her or under his or her control to be driven by any person who has no legal right to do so. 7. No person shall cause or knowingly permit any person to operate a motor vehicle without a valid temporary instruction permit identification card or driver license. 8. No person shall permit his or her license to be used by a person under the legal age for the purchase of alcoholic beverages. Organ donor information. Ohio law makes it possible for all licensed drivers or identification card holders to register as organ, eye, and tissue donors in the Ohio Donor Registry. The Deputy Registrar will ask if you are interested in donating your organs upon your death when you apply for a license or identification card. If you agree to do so, an organ donor symbol will be printed on the front of your license or identification card. The BMV has developed the Ohio Donor Registry to allow individuals to make anatomical gifts at the time of their death. This is designated on the individual's driver or commercial driver license or motorcycle operator's license or identification card or endorsement. The BMV maintains the Ohio Donor Registry 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The donor status must be confirmed each time the license or identification card is renewed, which allows the individual to change their status. Those under the age of 15 and a half can register their donation decision with the consent of a parent or guardian. Those 15 and a half to 17 can register their donation decision without the consent of a parent or guardian. However, if an individual dies before they turn 18, their parent or guardian can amend or revoke their donation decision. For individuals 18 or older, their legal next of kin cannot revoke or amend their authorization. Individuals who want to specify what they would like to donate or for what purposes should fill out an Ohio Donor Registry enrollment form, which is located in the Donate Life Ohio brochure available at all Deputy Registrar locations, or by registering their decision online through the BMV website. All Ohioans are also encouraged to speak with their families concerning their donation decision. For further information or questions, please contact your local Deputy Registrar or your local organ procurement agency. In addition, when you apply or renew your license or state identification card, the Deputy Registrar will also ask you if you would like to voluntarily donate $1 for the promotion of organ, eye, and tissue donation. Called the Second Chance Trust Fund, these contributions support donation education in Ohio. Funded since 1997, the Second Chance Trust Fund is administered by the Ohio Department of Health. Living Will. Upon application for a license or identification card, Ohio law provides the opportunity for you to declare whether or not you have executed a valid, durable power of attorney for health care or have executed a declaration governing the use of life-sustaining equipment or treatment. If you have executed these declarations, you may choose to indicate so by having the applicable symbol printed on your license or identification card. Titling a motor vehicle. An Ohio motor vehicle dealer is required to provide a new title in your name within 30 days of the purchase of a new or used vehicle. Ensure the dealer has your complete legal name and address, as it must appear on the title. If you buy a vehicle from an individual, you are responsible for the transfer of the title. Make sure the seller has properly assigned and notarized the title to you, completing all areas such as price, mileage, and buyer's complete legal name and address. The new title may be obtained from any clerk of the courts or common pleas title office in any county. Do not complete any part of the application on the reverse side of the title unless it is done before a notary public. The application must be notarized. Contact your local clerk of the courts of common pleas title office for title fees and sales tax rate. Exportation of titled vehicles. Certain limitations apply to those persons who wish to export their titled vehicles outside the United States on a temporary basis. For further information, contact Titling Support and Dealer Licensing of the BMV at 614-752-7636. License plate information. Ohio residents have 4 options to renew their vehicle tags. The Bureau of Motor Vehicles mails renewal applications to vehicle owners at least 45 days before they are due. Vehicle owners have the choice of mailing their applications and payment immediately upon receipt, stopping by a local deputy registrar to complete the application process any time before their registration expires, logging on to www.oplates.com, or calling 1-866-OPLATES, 1-866-675-2837. Registration expires on the owner's birthday. Address changes can be updated through www.oplates.com, by mail, or by calling 1-800-589-8247. Any questions concerning Ohio vehicle license plates should be directed to 1-800-589-TAGS. That is 1-800-589-8247 or www.oplates.com. Driver licensing and vehicle registration. Driver license for new residents. New Ohio residents who hold a valid driver license from another state should follow these steps to obtain an Ohio license. 1. Visit any Ohio BMV driver license exam station, present your valid out-of-state driver license, and submit to a vision screening. If you hold a valid out-of-state CDL, you will be required to take the vision and any necessary knowledge testing. If your out-of-state driver license does not have your Social Security number listed, you must also present your Social Security card as proof of your number. 2. While the skills tests are generally waived for new residents, examiners may require a skills test of driving and maneuverability at their discretion. Skills tests are given by appointment only. New residents under 18 years of age must present proof of driver education. If driver training was completed in another jurisdiction, your out-of-state driver education certificate must be presented to the examiner at the exam station. Your out-of-state certificate must indicate the number of hours of classroom training and the number of hours of behind-the-wheel training. Note: If training received outside of Ohio does not meet Ohio's requirements, an Ohio driver education course must be completed. 3. The examiner will check the problem driver pointer system to determine if you are under suspension or revocation in any other state. If you are under suspension or revocation, you will not be eligible for licensing in this state until you provide a clearance letter. 4. If you have a disability or medical condition which affects your license status, your application will be processed exactly the same as an Ohio resident with the same condition. 5. Within 60 days of passing your vision screening, you must visit a deputy registrar agency where driver licenses are issued, listed under License Services in your Yellow Pages, or at www.bmv.ohio.gov/county_first.stm. 6. You will be required to surrender most out-of-state licenses you hold. Under Ohio law, no person shall be permitted to have more than one valid license at any time. You will also need to present acceptable documentation. The Deputy Registrar Licensing Agency will process your application, collect the appropriate fees, take your photograph, and issue your license. Note: Ohio law provides no specific grace period for converting your out-of-state driver license to an Ohio license except commercial driver licenses. Once you have become an Ohio resident, taken a job, signed a lease, bought a home, registered to vote, enrolled children in school, etc., you are obligated to obtain an Ohio driver license as soon as possible. Historically, Ohio courts and police agencies have considered 30 days to be the maximum time limit. Certificate of Title Issuance. In order to convert an out-of-state certificate of title to Ohio, owner evidence is a prerequisite for permanent Ohio registration. New residents should 1. Contact any clerk of the Courts of Common Pleas Title Office to determine their hours and location and ask any questions you have. All Ohio titles are issued at the county level by the Clerk of the Courts of Common Pleas Title Office. 2. Obtain the following required documents for title transfer or conversion from another state: the original title document from the former state, and, if an unsatisfied lien is recorded on the old title, the original or certified copy of the original security agreement must accompany the Ohio title application. Next, you must have an out-of-state inspection, a vehicle identification number verification. The inspection form may be completed at all Deputy Registrar License agencies, as well as most new or used car dealerships in Ohio at a cost of $5. The vehicle must be taken to the inspection station for this service. Please contact the Dealer Service Department prior to arrival. Any additional information requested should be directed to any County Clerk of the Courts of Common Pleas Title Office or the Bureau of Motor Vehicles Titling Support and Dealer Licensing, Post Office Box 16520, Columbus, Ohio 43216-6520, at phone number 614-752-7671. Please refer to your county listings for the Clerk of the Courts of Common Pleas Auto Title Department for your local title office. If the vehicle coming in from another state is owned by a leasing company, the person obtaining the title will need a notarized power of attorney from the leasing company to perform title issuance. All licensed Ohio automobile dealers are required by law to deliver the certificate of title to their customers within 30 days after delivery of the vehicle. A vehicle purchased from another individual will need to be titled in any county, providing proper assignment from the seller and federal odometer requirements have been met by both parties. Ohio title law determines that ownership listed in more than one name is considered joint ownership, and signatures of all owners are required for title application. Converting out-of-state vehicle registration. In order to convert out-of-state license tags to Ohio plates, new residents should follow these steps. 1. Visit a nearby vehicle inspection station to have your car's vehicle identification number verified. Deputy Registrar License agencies, most new car dealerships, and some used car dealers provide this service. You will receive an official inspection certificate. 2. Take this certificate and your out-of-state title or other official ownership document to the Clerk of the Courts of Common Pleas Title Office in your Ohio county of residence. If there is a loan outstanding on the vehicle, you will also need a certified copy of the mortgage note. call the county clerk for full details. When all necessary documents are presented, the Clerk of the Courts of Common Pleas Title Office will issue an Ohio title certificate for your vehicle. 3. Take your new Ohio title to the nearest Deputy Registrar License Agency along with proof of your Social Security number, Ohio driver license, or Ohio identification card. The Deputy Registrar License Agency will collect appropriate registration taxes for the remainder of the current license year and issue you a set of plates along with the necessary validation stickers and registration slip. Note: by law, the specific individual who is the legal owner of a vehicle must personally apply for his or her Ohio title certificate and license plates. Unless an official power of attorney form is completed by the legal owner, no other person may complete these transactions. Note: customers are no longer required to show proof of Social Security number on initial vehicle registrations if a valid Ohio driver license or Ohio identification card is presented. Leased vehicle information. If the vehicle is leased, then signatures from lessor and lessee are required. The signature must be on the following: the renewal application from the lessee, application for out-of-state registration by mail, BMV Form 4625, lessee, power of attorney, BMV Form 5736, lessee or lessor, leasing company power of attorney, unless there is an electronic power of attorney on file with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, lessor only. 3. Commercial driver licensing. Classes of commercial driver licenses, CDL. All operators of commercial motor vehicles in the following classes are required to hold a commercial driver license unless the operator is exempt. CDL exemptions will follow in this audio. The classes of commercial driver licenses and the types of commercial motor vehicles they authorize the license holder to operate are as follows. Class A. Any combination of vehicles with a combined gross vehicle weight rating of 26,001 pounds or more if the gross vehicle weight rating of the vehicle or vehicles being towed is in excess of 10,000 pounds. Class B. Any single vehicle with a gross vehicle weight rating of 26,001 pounds or more, or any such vehicle towing a vehicle having a gross vehicle weight rating that is not in excess of 10,000 pounds. Class C. Any single vehicle or combination of vehicles that is not a Class A or Class B vehicle, but that either is designed to transport 16 or more passengers, including the driver, or is placarded for hazardous materials, and any school bus with a gross vehicle weight rating of less than 26,001 pounds that is designed to transport fewer than 16 passengers, including the driver. The higher class CDL allows you to drive vehicles in any of the lower classes, provided you have the correct endorsements. Endorsements are required for vehicles designed to carry 16 or more passengers, double or triple trailers, tank vehicles, placarded amounts of hazardous materials, and school buses. Who needs a CDL? You need a CDL if you operate any of the following vehicles. 1. Any combination of vehicles with a combined gross vehicle weight rating of 26,001 pounds or more, provided the gross vehicle weight rating of the vehicle or vehicles being towed is in excess of 10,000 pounds. 2. Any single vehicle with a gross vehicle weight rating of 26,001 pounds or more, or any such vehicle towing a vehicle having a gross vehicle weight rating that is not in excess of 10,000 pounds. 3. Any single vehicle or combination of vehicles that is not a Class A or Class B vehicle, but either is designed to transport 16 or more passengers including the driver, or is placarded for hazardous materials. 4. Any school bus with a gross vehicle weight rating of less than 26,001 pounds that is designed to transport fewer than 16 passengers including the driver. 5. A vehicle transporting hazardous materials for which placarding is required by regulations adopted under the Hazardous Materials Transportation Act 88, Statute 2156 from year 1975, 49 U.S.C.A. 1801, as amended. CDL endorsements and restrictions. The following endorsements and restrictions apply to commercial driver licenses. H. Authorizes the driver to have a vehicle transporting hazardous materials in amounts requiring a placard. K. Restricts the driver to only intrastate operation. L. Restricts the driver to vehicles not equipped with air brakes. T. Authorizes the driver to drive double and triple trailers. P. Authorizes the driver to drive vehicles designed to transport 16 or more passengers. P1. Used in conjunction with a passenger endorsement, authorizes the driver to drive Class A vehicles designed for fewer than 15 passengers and all lesser classes of vehicles without restriction to the number of passengers. P2. Used in conjunction with a passenger endorsement, authorizes the driver to drive Class A or B vehicles designed for fewer than 15 passengers and all lesser classes of vehicles without restriction as to the number of passengers. P4. Restricts the driver to driving Class C school buses designed to transport fewer than 16 passengers, including the driver. N. Authorizes the driver to drive tank vehicles. S. Authorizes the driver to drive school buses. X. Authorizes the driver to drive tank vehicles transporting hazardous materials in amounts requiring a placard. W. Restricts the driver to the operation of commercial motor vehicles in accordance with the restricted CDL for farm-related service industries issued under ORC 4506.24. CDL exemptions. The law exempts these categories from the CDL. 1. A farm truck, a truck controlled and operated by a farmer for use in the transportation to or from a farm for a distance of no more than 150 miles, or products of the farm, supplies for the farm, or other purposes connected with the operation of the farm. The truck must be operated in accordance with ORC 4506.03b and is not used in the operation of a motor transportation company or private motor carrier. 2. Fire equipment for a fire department, volunteer, or non-volunteer fire company, fire district, or joint fire district. 3. A public safety vehicle used to provide transportation or emergency medical service for ill or injured persons. Public safety vehicle includes every vehicle that has the same meaning as in ORC 4511.01 E, 1, and 3. 4. A recreational vehicle includes every vehicle that is defined as a recreational vehicle in ORC 4501.01 and is used exclusively for purposes other than engaging in business or profit. 5. A vehicle that is operated for non-business purposes. 6. A vehicle operated for military purposes by any member or uniformed employee of the Armed Forces of the United States. Procedures for obtaining a CDL. To get a CDL or a CDL Temporary Instruction Permit Identification Card, you are required to be at least 18 years of age and have a valid state driver license. Study manuals are available at all Deputy Registrar license agencies and exam stations. You need to apply for a Temporary Instruction Permit Identification Card. Take your valid Ohio driver license and or Ohio Temporary Instruction Permit Identification Card to any exam station when undergoing the testing requirements applicable to your Ohio driver license upgrade or to add an endorsement. After successfully passing the applicable exam, report to a Deputy Registrar office where driver's licenses are issued, listed under License Services in your Yellow Pages, or at www.bmv.ohio.gov/county_first.stm. You must present your valid license and acceptable documents. The Deputy Registrar will issue you a Temporary Instruction Permit Identification Card to drive a commercial motor vehicle only when accompanied by a person who holds a valid CDL that is also valid for the type of vehicle being driven. This person must occupy the seat beside the Temporary Instruction Permit Identification Card holder. The Temporary Instruction Permit Identification Card is valid for 6 months from the date of issuance. A CDL Temporary Instruction Permit Identification Card can only be purchased twice within a 2-year period. Testing. Both the knowledge and the skills test are normally required to receive a CDL. The skill test consists of a pre-trip inspection, basic skills, and road test. This takes approximately 2 hours to complete. You will need to provide a vehicle appropriate to the class of license you are applying for, including a passenger vehicle or school bus designed to carry 16 or more persons including the driver if applying for a passenger or school bus endorsement. If you wish to upgrade in class, add a passenger or school bus endorsement, or remove an air brake restriction after a CDL is issued, both the knowledge and skills tests are required. To obtain a CDL skills test receipt, you will need to visit a Deputy Registrar agency. The receipt consists of the following fees: a pre-trip inspection portion, $10 for the state, $20 for third party; off-road maneuvering portion, $10 for state, $20 for third party; and road portion of the test, $30 for state, $45 third party. Renewal Upgrade. When applying for a renewal or upgrade of a CDL, all applicants shall provide any updated information. In order to renew a CDL with a hazardous material endorsement or upgrade to a CDL with a hazardous material endorsement, pass a knowledge test and complete a new application for a security threat assessment through TSA. Contact them at 877-429-7746. Self-certify to their expected type of driving. Provide a completed medical examiner certificate, medical card, ODOT card, if applicable. Medical and self-certification requirements for commercial driver license. Beginning January 30th, 2012, new federal regulations require all commercial driver license CDL holders and applicants to self-certify their type of commercial driving and provide a completed medical examiner certificate. Please visit www.ohiobmv.gov for a copy of BMV Form 2159. For any questions, look under General Information, New Federal Regulations for CDL Holders effective January 30th, 2012. Failing to self-certify by completing the required BMV 2159 and/or submitting the required medical examiner's certification, MedCard, ODOT card, MeCert, will cause a cancellation of commercial driving privileges and prevent the issuance of a CDL until compliant. All CDL holders must self-certify to one of four categories. Category 1, non-accepted interstate, across state lines. Driver must submit completed MeCert. Category 2, accepted interstate, across state lines. Category 3, non-accepted intrastate, exclusively within Ohio. Category 4, accepted intrastate, exclusively within Ohio. This change is in reference to new federal regulations, CFR 49, Part 383, 384, 390, and 391. These regulations can be found online at www.fmcsa.dot.gov or direct your inquiries to Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles, CDL/Out-of-State Processing, P.O. Box 16784, Columbus, Ohio 43216-6784, or contact the Ohio BMV at 614-752-7600. Motorcycle and motorized bicycle regulations. Motorcycle laws and regulations. When riding on public roadways, motorcyclists are required to follow all other traffic laws that apply to four-wheeled vehicles. Definition of motorcycle. Section 4511.01c, motorcycle, means every motor vehicle other than a tractor having a seat or saddle for the use of the operator and designed to travel on not more than three wheels in contact with the ground, including but not limited to motor vehicles known as motor-driven cycle, motor scooter, or motorcycle without regard to weight or brake horsepower. Registration of a motorcycle. Any person operating a motorcycle on public roadways must register it annually with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles and hold a valid motorcycle license or endorsement. Special laws for motorcycle riders. 1. Riding abreast. ORC 4511.55b prohibits persons who operate motorcycles or bicycles upon a public roadway from riding more than two abreast, side by side, in a single lane, except on paths or parts of a roadway set aside for the exclusive use of motorcycles or bicycles. 2. Helmets and eye protection. State law requires all motorcycle operators and passengers to wear safety glasses or other approved protective eye devices at all times when riding on the street. The law also requires that the following persons wear an approved protective safety helmet which meets Federal Department of Transportation standards at all times when riding on the street. all motorcycle operators and passengers who are under 18 years of age, all novice operators, regardless of age. A novice is defined as anyone who has had less than 1 year of experience as a licensed motorcycle operator. All motorcycle passengers, regardless of age, when they are riding with a driver who is legally required to wear a helmet. 3. Equipment regulations. State law requires that every motorcycle operated on public roadways must be equipped with the following: at least one, but not more than 2 headlights, at least one tail light or brake light, a white license plate light, a horn which can be heard for at least 200 feet, at least one rear view mirror positioned so that the rider has a clear view of the roadway behind the vehicle, handlebars and grips that are mounted so that they are no more than 15 inches above the seat, turn signals on all motorcycles manufactured after January 1, 1968. 4. Motorcycle passengers. Bucket or bench seats for passengers are illegal. Riders must be seated astride the cycle with one leg on either side. Passengers may only be carried on a firmly attached regular seat. Applying for your motorcycle license. A motorcycle-only license is a restricted driver's license which authorizes the holder to operate motorcycles only. A motorcycle endorsement is an add-on permit issued to persons who already hold a current, valid Ohio driver license. It authorizes the holder to operate motorcycles in addition to other types of vehicles. The holder of a 2-wheeled motorcycle endorsement or license may operate a 2- or 3-wheeled motorcycle. The holder of a 3-wheeled motorcycle endorsement or license is restricted to the operation of a 3-wheeled motorcycle. Special restrictions for a motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card. 1. Daylight riding only. 2. No passengers. 3. Not valid on congested roadways or interstate highways. 4. Must wear a helmet and have eye protection. To obtain a motorcycle-only license, you must be 15 years and 6 months of age or older to obtain a motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card. To obtain a motorcycle license, you must hold your temporary instruction permit identification card for 6 months from date of issuance. A person under the age of 18 must complete the 50-hour affidavit, an approved driver's education course, and the Motorcycle Safety and Education Program, as well as the graduated driver license requirements. Motorcycle Ohio is available to all Ohio motorcycle operators. Call 1-800-83-RIDER or visit www.motorcycle.ohio.gov. First, complete the instructions for first driver license applicants. You must pass a motorcycle knowledge test. You should study and understand the motorcycle and motorized bicycle regulations in the Digest of Ohio Motor Vehicle Laws and the Ohio Motorcycle Operator's Manual. All questions on the knowledge exam are based on information from these 2 manuals. After you have successfully passed your vision and knowledge test, the examiner may take your photograph and provide you with a receipt that you may present at a deputy registrar agency. You must report to a deputy registrar agency and obtain your motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card within 60 days of passing your knowledge test. You may bring the receipt and 2 acceptable documents showing proof of your name, date of birth, and your Social Security number if ever assigned. After verifying your acceptable documents and your photo image, the deputy will proceed with the issuance of your motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card. This motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card must be retained on your person at all times during each step of the licensing process. The motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card will allow you to practice for the motorcycle skills test by riding during daylight hours with no passengers. The motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card is not valid on congested roads and interstate highways, and you must wear an approved protective helmet and eye protection. The temporary instruction permit identification card expires 1 year from the date of issuance. When your riding skills are developed, call any exam station to schedule a skills test. When appearing at the exam station, present your valid motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card. The skills test of your motorcycle operating ability is administered by an examiner on an off-street course. You must furnish a street-legal motorcycle in safe working condition for the test. Once you have passed your skills test, you may return to a deputy registrar agency and surrender your motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card to obtain your motorcycle license, only prior to the expiration of your motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card. You will also be required to present a document verifying your Social Security number if ever assigned. The deputy will collect a fee and issue your motorcycle license. For current fees, visit www.ohiobmv.com. Important: if you are under 18 years of age, your application must be co-signed by a parent or legal guardian at the time you apply. A co-signer must also present 2 forms of acceptable documents verifying identification. This means that a parent or legal guardian must accompany any applicant who is under 18 years of age to the Deputy Registrar Agency. To obtain a motorcycle endorsement, you must hold a valid Ohio driver license when visiting any exam station. No appointment is necessary to take the knowledge test and vision screening, but be sure to verify days and hours for each exam station. Drivers under the age of 18 must complete the Motorcycle Ohio Training Program as well as the graduated driver license requirements. Call 1-800-83-RIDER or 1-800-837-4337. Motorcycle Ohio is available to all Ohio motorcycle operators. For more information, contact www.motorcycle.ohio.gov. You must pass a motorcycle knowledge test. You should study and understand the motorcycle and motorized bicycle regulations in the Digest of Ohio Motor Vehicle Laws and the Ohio Motorcycle Operator's Manual. All questions on the knowledge exam are based on information from these 2 manuals. After you have successfully passed your vision and knowledge test, the examiner will take your photograph and provide you with a receipt that you may present at the Deputy Registrar Agency. You must report to a Deputy Registrar Agency to obtain your motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card within 60 days of passing your knowledge test. You may bring the receipt and 2 acceptable documents showing proof of your name, date of birth, and your Social Security number if ever assigned. After verifying your acceptable documents and your photo image, the deputy will proceed with the issuance of your motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card. This motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card must be retained on your person at all times during each step of the licensing process. The motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card will allow you to practice for the motorcycle skills test by riding during daylight hours with no passengers. The motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card is not valid on congested roads and interstate highways, and you must wear an approved protective helmet and eye protection. The temporary instruction permit identification card expires 1 year from the date of issuance. When your riding skills are developed, call any exam station to schedule a skills test. When appearing at the exam station, present your valid motorcycle temporary instruction permit identification card. The skills test of your motorcycle operating ability is administered by an examiner on an off-street course. You must furnish a street legal motorcycle in safe working condition for the test. Once you have passed your skills test, you may return to any Deputy Registrar Agency and surrender your Ohio driver license. You must obtain your Ohio license before the expiration date or your temporary instruction permit identification card. The deputy will reissue your license and add the motorcycle endorsement. Provided you are age 21 or older and not within your renewal period, the expiration date of your license will remain the same. You will also be required to present acceptable documents. There is a fee to add an endorsement. When adding a motorcycle endorsement to your Ohio license while in your renewal period, the endorsement is added at no additional charge. The skills test of your motorcycle operating ability is administered by an examiner on an off-street course. You must furnish a street legal motorcycle in safe working condition for the test. Once you have passed your skills test, you will obtain a receipt with a confirmation number to present at the Deputy Registrar Agency to obtain your temporary instruction permit identification card within 60 days of passing your knowledge exam. You must bring 2 documents that verify your name, date of birth, and Social Security number if ever assigned. After verifying your acceptable documents and your photo image, the deputy will proceed with the issuance of your temporary instruction permit identification card. This temporary instruction permit identification card must be retained on your person at all times during each step of the licensing process. If you lose this card, please visit your local Deputy Registrar Agency and purchase a replacement temporary instruction permit identification card. Important: if you are under 18 years of age, your application must be co-signed by a parent or guardian at the time you apply. A cosigner must also present 2 forms of acceptable documents verifying identification. This means that a parent or guardian must accompany any applicant who is under 18 years of age to any deputy registrar agency. Taking the skills test. Motorcycle-only applicants. Present a valid temporary instruction permit identification card and the appropriate vehicle. You must bring an approved helmet and eye protection and provide a street-legal motorcycle in safe operating condition. The motorcycle must have a firmly attached seat with handlebars or grips not more than 15 inches higher than the seat. It must be equipped with all required safety equipment. Failure of the vehicle to comply with any of the above is grounds for denial of the skills test. Motorcycle endorsement applicants. Present a valid Ohio driver's license, validated temporary instruction permit identification card, and appropriate vehicle. You must bring an approved helmet and eye protection and provide a street-legal motorcycle in safe operating condition. The motorcycle must have a firmly attached seat with handlebars or grips not more than 15 inches above the seat. It must be equipped with all required safety equipment. Failure of the vehicle to comply with any of the above is grounds for denial of the skills test. New Ohio residents. New Ohio residents who hold a valid out-of-state motorcycle-only license or valid out-of-state driver license with a motorcycle endorsement may obtain the same type of license by completing the knowledge and vision tests. No skills test is required. If under 18 years of age, you must meet Ohio requirements. The Motorcycle Ohio Program. The Ohio Department of Public Safety's Motorcycle Ohio program offers a course in motorcycle safety and education at locations across the state. This course has a nominal, non-refundable tuition fee for all individuals. The Motorcycle Ohio program is required for individuals under 18 years of age before they can apply for a motorcycle operator's endorsement and/or license. For more information, visit www.motorcycle.ohio.gov. While aimed at the new operator, the course is valuable and challenging to all skill levels. Motorcycles, helmets, and student workbooks are provided. For more information, call 1-800-83-RIDER. Motorcycle operators who successfully complete the Motorcycle Ohio program are not required to take a skills test from a state examiner. Sharing the road with motorcyclists. A motorist must share the road with motorcycles. The motorcyclist has the same right to use the public road as any other driver. A motorist must maintain a safety zone of approximately 3 seconds between the car and the motorcyclist. A motorist must pass a motorcyclist only when it can be done safely. A motorist must leave ample room when turning after passing a motorcyclist, so the motorcyclist is not cut off when the motorist slows for the turn. A motorist must not attempt to share the same lane beside a motorcyclist. A motorist must be aware of major hazards to motorcyclists such as potholes, gravel, wet, slippery, or groove pavement, and railroad crossings that can cause a motorcyclist to change speed or direction suddenly. Motorized bicycles. No person may operate a motorized bicycle, moped, on any public roadway or private property used by the public unless the person is 14 years of age or older and has obtained an Ohio motorized bicycle operator's license and holds a valid Ohio driver's license or motorcycle license. No person whose license is under suspension is eligible to apply for a motorcycle bicycle operator license. Definition of a motorized bicycle. Section 4511.01H of the Ohio Revised Code defines a motorized bicycle as any vehicle with 2 tandem wheels or 1 front and 2 rear wheels, which is capable of being pedaled and is also equipped with a helper motor. The law specifies that the helper motor must have a piston displacement of no more than 50 cubic centimeters, produce no more than 1 brake horsepower, and propel the vehicle to a maximum speed of no greater than 20 miles per hour on a level surface. Any motor-driven or motor-assisted cycle which exceeds any of these limitations is legally a motorcycle and is subject to all vehicle registrations and operator licensing requirements that apply to full-sized motorcycles. In addition, all motorized bicycles must be approved by the Director of the Ohio Department of Public Safety as meeting the basic equipment standards. A vehicle does not become a motorized bicycle until the Department of Public Safety includes that vehicle on its approved list. For a copy of the list of all makes and models approved for registration in Ohio as a moped, write to Vehicle Information Services, Ohio Department of Public Safety, Post Office Box 16521, Columbus, Ohio 43216-6521. The Motorized Bicycle License. A motorized bicycle operator license allows the holder to operate motorized bicycles only. It does not allow the holder to operate a motorcycle, a passenger car, or any type of motor vehicle. It does not take the place of a temporary instruction permit identification card or any other type of Ohio driver license. Motorized bicycle operator licenses are issued at any deputy registrar agency when required testing is completed. There is a fee, and the license expires on the licensee's birthday in the 4th year after issuance. If the original license is lost, stolen, or destroyed, a duplicate can be obtained for an additional fee. The duplicate will expire on the expiration date of the original license. Applying for your motorized bicycle license. If you are an Ohio resident 14 years of age or older, and you do not hold any other valid license, you may apply for a motorized bicycle operator license by following these steps. Study and learn all materials in the Digest of Ohio Motor Vehicle Laws. Visit any exam station. No appointment is necessary to take the knowledge test and vision screening, but be sure to verify hours of operation for each exam station. Pass the motorcycle knowledge test. Obtain your temporary instruction permit identification card from a deputy registrar. Call any exam station to schedule a skills test. Once you have passed your skills test, you must return to a deputy registrar office and surrender your motorized bicycle temporary instruction permit identification card. You will also be required to present acceptable documents. The deputy will take your photograph, collect a fee, and issue your motorized bicycle license. When your riding skills are developed, call any exam station to schedule a skills test. When appearing at the exam station, you must present a valid temporary instruction permit identification card. A skills test will be administered by an examiner on an off-street course. Applicants must furnish their street-legal motorized bicycle, protective helmet, and eye protection during the test. Take the temporary instruction permit identification card to any deputy registrar agency and apply for a motorized bicycle license. This license will be valid for 4 birthdays. There is a fee for this license. Special laws for motorized bicycle riders. Motorized bicycle operators under the age of 18 are required to wear protective helmets whenever they operate these vehicles. The helmets must meet Federal Department of Transportation standards. Passengers are prohibited on motorized bicycles. Motorized bicycles must be operated within 3 feet of the right-hand side of the roadway when practical. If an operator is under 16 and is convicted of 1 traffic violation, it will result in the loss of operating privileges until he or she reaches the age of 16. Motorized bicycles must be registered annually and display a special license plate issued by the Registrar of Motor Vehicles. Only vehicles approved by the Director of the Ohio Department of Public Safety can be registered. Applicants with disabilities. State law requires that all applicants for motorized bicycle operator licenses indicate if they suffer from any physical or mental disability at the time they apply for a license. Applicants who do suffer from some form of disability may complete the tests. The test results and a statement of their disability will then be forwarded to the Registrar of Motor Vehicles, who will require the same medical reports that are required of applicants with disabilities who apply for a driver's license. Equipment regulations. Under authority granted by the Ohio General Assembly, the Director of the Ohio Department of Public Safety has established minimum equipment requirements for motorized bicycles. These requirements include a working muffler and exhaust system with no cutouts or bypasses, a firmly attached seat for the operator. The top of the seat must be at least 25 inches above the ground, at least 1 and no more than 2 headlights, a tail light with a reflective lens, a brake light, a set of handlebars that are equipped with safety grips and are positioned no higher than 15 inches above the seat, a horn or other audible signaling device that can be heard at least 100 feet away. Sirens and whistles are not permitted. For the complete list of Ohio's motorized bicycle rules and regulations, and a list of all makes and models approved for registration in Ohio as a moped, write to Vehicle Information Services, Ohio Department of Public Safety, Post Office Box 16521, Columbus, Ohio 43216-6521. Questions and answers on Ohio's moped regulations. Question: do I need to get a certificate of title or buy license plates for my motorized bicycle? Answer: While there is no requirement to provide a certificate of title when you purchase license plates for your motorized bicycle, you must purchase motorized bicycle plates. Proof of ownership of the vehicle is required, and license plates must be renewed annually. Question: I'm under 18. Do I have to complete a driver education course before I can apply for a motorized bicycle license? Answer: no. The driver education requirement does not apply to moped license applicants. Question: am I required to wear a safety helmet and eye protection when I ride my moped? Answer: operators under age 18 are required to wear a protective helmet which meets or exceeds U.S. DOT standards and protective eyewear while operating a motorized bicycle. Question: is it legal to carry a passenger on a moped? Answer: no. Under state regulations, adding a buddy seat and rear foot pegs does not make a standard one-occupant moped suitable for carrying two people. Question: are moped riders required to stop at red lights and obey other traffic signs? Answer: yes. Any moped rider who fails to obey a traffic control sign or signal can be cited by police and fined in traffic court, just like any other driver. Question: is it legal to ride a moped on a freeway? Answer: no. State law prohibits the operation of a motorized bicycle on any freeway. The Ohio Department of Public Safety strongly urges moped operators to avoid all roads where other vehicles normally travel at speeds higher than 35 miles per hour. Since the maximum speed of a moped in Ohio is 20 miles per hour, there is a serious risk of a crash occurring when vehicular speeds on a roadway exceed 35 miles per hour. Question: is it legal for someone under the age of 14 to ride a moped in a parking lot? Answer: no. The law prohibits anyone under the age of 14 from riding mopeds on any public street or on any private property used by the public for driving or parking motor vehicles. The same prohibition applies to persons age 14 and older who do not have a license. Question: are motorized bicycle riders required to yield the right-of-way to pedestrians in a crosswalk? Answer: yes. Anyone riding a moped is required to yield the right-of-way to any pedestrian crossing at a corner and is considered to be an illegal crosswalk, even if there are no crosswalk lines painted on the street. Question: can my moped license be suspended for traffic law violations? Answer: yes. Ohio courts have the power to suspend the license of any moped rider who is convicted of serious or repeated traffic violations. The Registrar of Motor Vehicles also has the authority to suspend or revoke the license of anyone who makes a false statement on a license application, deliberately alters or destroys a license, obtains a license by means of fraud, or otherwise obtains a license by breaking any of the state rules and regulations that apply to moped licensing. Operators under 16 years of age will lose all operating privileges until they reach age 16 if convicted of even one violation on a motorized bicycle. Question: can I use my moped license to operate a motor scooter? Answer: no. A motor scooter is legally defined as a motorcycle under Ohio law. The driver must be properly licensed to operate the vehicle, motorcycle endorsement, or motorcycle license, and must meet the Ohio Financial Responsibility Law requirements. Section 5. Vehicle Equipment Regulations. Ohio law states, no person shall drive or move or knowingly permit to be driven or moved on any highway any vehicle or combination of vehicles which is in such unsafe condition as to endanger any person. Ohio Revised Code, Section 4513.02. The Ohio State Highway Patrol conducts inspection of motor vehicles using the highway system in order to detect unsafe vehicles. If mechanical defects are found, the vehicle operator may be issued a defect notification and given time to have repairs made, or the operator may be cited into court. An inspection sticker is placed on the windshield of vehicles that pass inspection. Items checked during inspection. Steering. Steering will be inspected to determine steering assembly operates normally, there is no excessive play in the steering wheel, sector shaft is secure, and there is no binding or lash in the steering assembly. Tires must have a minimum of 1/16 inch tread depth on the road surface. They should be free of major bumps or bulges, breaks, or tread damage. Wheels and rims must not be badly bent or twisted. Lug bolts must be securely tightened. Brakes. Service brakes, primary brakes for slowing, stopping, and controlling a vehicle. Emergency brakes. Brake systems independent from the service brake used for stopping or holding a vehicle in an emergency or while parked. Pedal reserve, the amount of total pedal left in reserve when the pedal is depressed to the brake applied position. Brakes will be inspected to determine there is sufficient brake pedal. Hydraulic brake systems will be tested with vehicle stopped. Drivers should be able to maintain brake pedal height under moderate foot force, 40 to 60 pounds, for 1 minute. There is sufficient brake pedal reserve. With vehicle stopped and brake pedal depressed under moderate foot force, 40 to 60 pounds for non-powered systems and 15 to 20 pounds in power-assisted systems, there should be a minimum of approximately 1/3 of the total available pedal travel, by manufacturer specifications, remaining on the non-power assisted systems. On power-assisted systems, checked with motor running, there should be 1/5 or more of the total available pedal travel remaining while the pedal is depressed under moderate foot force. The service brake will hold the vehicle on any grade and under all conditions of loading, provided the surface is free of snow, ice, or loose material. The emergency brake should hold the vehicle in a stop position when less than 2/3 of the actuator stroke is used, and should stop the vehicle in the event of service brake failure. Brake fluids and brake lining materials manufactured for sale in Ohio must meet standards set by the Director of the Ohio Department of Public Safety. Headlights. Every motor vehicle other than a motorcycle must be equipped with at least 2 headlights in working order, one near each side of the front of the motor vehicle. Motorcycles shall be equipped with at least 1 and not more than 2 headlights in working order. Tail lights. Every vehicle must display at least 1 tail light, emitting a red light visible 500 feet from the rear. Every vehicle must be equipped with 2 or more stop lights emitting a red light from the rear, visible for 500 feet whenever the brakes are applied. License illuminating light. Every motor vehicle shall be equipped with a white light in working order placed to illuminate the rear registration plate. Red reflectors. Every motor vehicle other than a commercial tractor to which a trailer or semi-trailer is attached shall carry at the rear, either as a part of the tail lights or separately, 2 red reflectors. Color of lights. No vehicle shall be equipped with a light of any color other than white or amber mounted on the front except those operating under special permits, public safety vehicles, emergency vehicles, disabled vehicles, funeral escort vehicles, and road repair equipment. Turn signals. All motor vehicles manufactured after January 1st, 1954 must be equipped with turn signals in working order, visible from both front and rear. Turn signal lights must be visible at a distance of not less than 300 feet in normal sunlight. Turn signals must be used to show intention to turn right or left, to change course of direction, or to change lanes on a multi-lane road. They should be turned on well in advance of the planned change of direction, at least 100 feet. Safety glass. All glass on a motor vehicle must be safety glass, free of discoloration or diffusion, cracks, and unauthorized obstructions. Exhaust system. Every motor vehicle with an internal combustion engine shall at all times be equipped with an exhaust system which is in good working order and in constant operation. No vehicle shall be equipped with a muffler cutout, bypass, or similar device which would produce excessive smoke or gas, or permit any chemical to flow into or upon the exhaust pipe or muffler. No vehicle shall be equipped in any other way to produce or emit smoke or dangerous or annoying gases other than ordinary gases emitted by the exhaust of an internal combustion engine under normal operation. No motor vehicle, including motorcycles, shall be equipped with an exhaust system which would produce any excessive or unusual noise. All motorcycles must be equipped with mufflers having baffle plates as required by law. Every motor vehicle shall at all times be equipped with a standard muffler for that type of vehicle or one that meets all the requirements above. Rear view mirror. Every motor vehicle shall be equipped with a mirror located to reflect to the operator a clear, unobstructed view of the highway to the rear. Windshield wipers. Every motor vehicle shall be equipped with a device for clearing rain, snow, or other moisture from the windshield. It should be maintained in good working order and constructed to be operated by the driver of the vehicle. Every motor vehicle manufactured after January 1st, 1968 shall be equipped with a windshield washer. Horn and warning devices. Every motor vehicle shall be equipped with a horn, which is in good working order, capable of emitting sound and audible under normal conditions from a distance of at least 200 feet. No motor vehicle, except a public safety or emergency vehicle, shall be equipped with any siren, whistle, or bell. The horn shall be clearly identifiable as a motor vehicle horn. Broken parts. No motor vehicle shall be equipped with or permitted to have protruding objects, broken sharp edges, or vehicle parts which would be dangerous to a person coming in contact with them. Other equipment. Bumper law. Ohio law requires that all vehicles be equipped with bumpers if they had them when manufactured. The legal requirements of bumper heights depend on the type of vehicle and the gross vehicle weight rating. The bumper limits for passenger vehicles that have been modified are 22 inches from the bottom of the bumper to the ground for the front and back bumper. Vehicles with a gross vehicle rating of 10,000 pounds or more should contact the Ohio State Highway Patrol at 614-466-4993 for more information. Flashers. Flashers may be used when a disabled vehicle is left on or near a roadway. Safety belts. All vehicles manufactured since January 1, 1966 must be equipped with at least 2 safety belts for the front seats. It is required that the customer and examiner wear safety belts, utilizing all components, during the road and maneuverability tests. The exceptions to this regulation are all 1962 model year and older vehicles not equipped with safety belts, motorcycles, and mopeds. Studded tires. Studded tires are legal in Ohio from November 1st through April 15th. Window tinting. The acceptable percentages of light transmission for motor vehicles are windshield. The tinting must allow 70% light transmission. This level is equivalent to the amount installed as standard equipment of most new cars. Front seat driver and passenger side windows. The tinting must allow 50% transmission plus or minus 3%. Motorists can call their local highway patrol post for the location of the nearest motor vehicle inspection team to see if their windows comply with the law. Violation of the law is considered a minor misdemeanor with fines up to $100. E-Check Certificate. E-Check is the name for Ohio's Automobile Emissions Test. This pollution control inspection program was designed to increase the air quality in certain counties in Ohio. These counties are Cuyahoga, Geauga, Lake, Lorain, Medina, Portage, and Summit. An E-Check certificate may be required before a motor vehicle can be registered in these counties. Generally, most vehicles that you are registering for the first time must be inspected. Upon renewal, odd-number model year vehicles are inspected when the expiration date is in an odd-numbered year, and even-numbered model year vehicles are inspected when the expiration date is in an even-numbered year. For further information about the E-Check program, call 1-800-CAR-TEST. Section 6. Traffic Laws. Knowledge of Ohio laws will help you pass your tests and be a better driver. Lanes. Keep to the right. Drive on the right half of the roadway except when overtaking and passing another vehicle proceeding in the same direction, when driving on a road divided into 3 or more marked lanes, when driving on a road designed and posted with signs for one-way traffic, when otherwise directed by a police officer or traffic control device, or when an obstruction makes it necessary for you to drive left to center. Yield the right-of-way to all vehicles traveling in the proper direction on the unobstructed portion of the highway. Multiple lane roads. When a road has been divided into 4 or more marked lanes, or where traffic within municipalities is lawfully moving in 2 or more continuous lines in the same direction, the following rules apply. A vehicle shall be driven as closely as possible within a single lane of traffic. It shall not be moved from the lane until the driver has first determined that such movement can be made safely. A turn signal must be given before lane changes. On a roadway divided into 3 lanes, a vehicle shall not be driven in the center lane except where that center lane is devoted exclusively to traffic moving in the direction the driver is proceeding. Slow traffic. Vehicles moving slower than the traffic flow must use the available right lane or stay as close as possible to the right-hand curb or edge of the roadway. Emergency vehicles. Upon the approach of an emergency vehicle displaying flashing lights and an audible signal, the driver must immediately drive to a position parallel to the right edge or curb of the road or highway and stop. Drivers must be careful not to block intersections. All vehicles must remain in this position until the emergency vehicle has passed or when directed otherwise by a law enforcement officer. When an emergency, stationary public safety, and/or road service vehicle is stopped alongside the roadway with its lights flashing, the driver of vehicles passing it must reduce their speed. Furthermore, Whenever it is possible, the driver should change lanes to pass the emergency vehicle in a lane that is not adjacent to where the emergency vehicle stopped. Divided highway. A vehicle shall not be driven over, across, or within any dividing space, barrier, or section of a highway, except through an opening or crossover established by authority. Such dividing space, barrier, or section may be occupied for an emergency stop or in compliance with an order of a police officer. Turns. Right turn. Turn right as close as possible to the right-hand curb or edge of the road. Right-hand turn on red. In Ohio, it is legal to turn right after stopping at a red traffic signal, but only when there is no sign posted at the intersection forbidding right turns on red, you have come to a complete stop and have allowed all crossing traffic and all pedestrians to proceed through the intersection, and you can clearly see that the turn can be completed safely. Left turn. The driver of a vehicle intending to turn left at an intersection where traffic is moving in both directions on each road entering the intersection shall make the approach in the right half of the road nearest the center lane. The turn should be made into the lane on the right half of the street nearest the center line. The driver of a vehicle intending to turn left at an intersection where traffic is restricted to one direction on one or more of the roads shall make the approach in the extreme left-hand lane. Turn into the lane farthest left where traffic in that direction is allowed. The driver of a vehicle intending to turn left is required to yield the right-of-way to any vehicle approaching from the opposite direction. Prior to engaging a left-hand turn, the driver must wait for oncoming traffic to clear the intersection. One may advance into the intersection as a prelude to turning, provided that no other traffic control devices prohibit this action. Left turn on red. Under limited circumstances, it is legal to make a left turn after stopping at a red traffic signal. A left turn on red may be made only from the extreme left lane of a one-way street to the extreme left lane of another one-way street, providing there is no sign posted forbidding a left turn on red. It is against the law to make a left turn on red except from one-way street to another. When making such a turn, you must come to a complete stop and allow all crossing traffic and all pedestrians to clear the intersection before you proceed. Signal. A turn signal must be given at least 100 feet before the intended turn. This may be accomplished by using either a mechanical signal or the appropriate hand-arm signal. Stopping. A driver must stop behind the stop line or crosswalk at any stop sign or at a red traffic signal. A driver must stop behind the stop line or crosswalk at any red traffic signal where right or left turns on red are permitted. The driver may only proceed with the legal turn on red after coming to a full stop and yielding the right-of-way to all crossing traffic and to all pedestrians crossing the intersection. A driver must stop at a flashing red traffic signal, yielding to all traffic that does not have to stop. A driver must stop at a sidewalk, or if there is no sidewalk, at a point prior to entering the roadway when emerging from an alley, driveway, or private road on a business or residential district. Drivers must yield the right-of-way to any pedestrian on the sidewalk. A driver must stop before entering an intersection if there is not sufficient space on the other side to accommodate the vehicle. The law applies whether or not a traffic signal gives a driver the right to proceed. A driver must stop at the approach of a public safety vehicle, such as a police car, fire engine, or ambulance, displaying flashing lights and sounding a warning signal, unless the vehicle is traveling in the opposite direction on a divided highway. Drivers should move as far as possible to the right of the road and remain there until the emergency vehicle is passed. Stopping for a school bus. When a school bus is stopped on a roadway to pick up or drop off passengers, the following regulations apply to other drivers on the roadway. When a school bus driver is preparing to stop the bus, he or she activates 4 amber lights, 2 on the front and 2 on the rear of the bus. These lights continue to flash until the bus is fully stopped. Other vehicles are not required to stop during this preliminary stage of the 8-light warning, but should prepare to stop as soon as the bus comes to a full stop. When the bus comes to a complete stop, the amber lights stop flashing and 4 red lights, 2 in front and 2 in back, start flashing while the children enter or leave the bus. In addition, a stop arm with flashing red lights is automatically extended beneath the window on the left side of the bus. If the bus is stopped on a street or road which has fewer than 4 lanes, all traffic approaching the bus from either direction must stop at least 10 feet from the rear of the bus and remain stopped until the bus begins to move or the bus driver signals motorists to proceed. If the bus is stopped on a street or road which has 4 or more lanes, only traffic proceeding in the same direction as the bus must stop. School bus drivers believing a motorist has unlawfully passed the stopped bus will, if possible, report the license plate number to the law enforcement agency having jurisdiction over the area where the alleged violation occurred. The law enforcement agency will attempt to determine the identity of the driver, and if the identity is established, the reporting of the license plate number by the school bus driver establishes probable cause upon which to issue a citation. Failure to establish the identity of the driver will result in the enforcement agency sending a warning letter to the registered owner, stating that a motor vehicle registered to the owner was reported as having unlawfully passed a stopped school bus. Stopping distance. The distance it takes to stop your vehicle depends on your reaction time, speed at which you are traveling, the condition of your brakes, and the condition of the pavement, whether wet, dry, or icy. A driver must maintain sufficient distance between his or her vehicle and the vehicle ahead. Some safety experts advise drivers to allow 1 car length ahead for each 10 mph of speed. Others suggest following the 3-second rule. Watch the vehicle ahead pass a stationary object, such as a lamppost, counting 1001, 1002, 1003. If you pass the lamppost before you say 3, you are following too closely and should slow your speed. In bad weather, increase the space to 4 or 5 seconds traveling time. Yielding. A driver must yield the right-of-way when directed by a yield sign. A driver must yield the right-of-way when crossing or entering a through highway from a smaller, less traveled road. A driver must yield the right-of-way to a vehicle approaching from the right at an intersection of 2 similar roads without a traffic control device. A driver must yield the right-of-way to a pedestrian in a marked crosswalk, or at an unmarked crosswalk at an intersection. A driver must yield the right-of-way on the approach of a public safety vehicle. A driver must yield the right-of-way for all vehicles which are part of a funeral procession. Each vehicle in the funeral procession must have its headlights lit and must display a purple and white pennant. A driver must yield the right-of-way to oncoming traffic when making a left turn. A driver must yield the right-of-way to traffic approaching an intersection before making a right turn at a red light. Passing. Throughout the United States, vehicles travel on the right-hand side of the road. Ohio law provides that on a road with only 1 line of traffic in each direction, drivers are to use the right half of the traveled portion of the road. Under certain circumstances, however, vehicle operators are permitted to pass slow-moving traffic that is traveling in the same direction. It is generally safer and more consistent with the law to pass on the left of slower vehicles. Under any circumstance, the law requires that a driver signal the intention to pass by using a turn signal prior to passing. Passing to the left. When passing traffic traveling in the same direction, no vehicle shall be driven to the left of the center of the road unless the left side is clearly visible and is free of oncoming traffic for a sufficient distance ahead. Passing shall be completed without interfering with the safe operation of traffic approaching from the opposite direction or any vehicle being overtaken. Passing is not permitted under the following circumstances. 1. When approaching the crest of a grade or a curve in the roadway where the driver's view is obstructed and the driver cannot see if the pass will interfere with oncoming traffic. 2. Within 100 feet of a bridge, viaduct, or tunnel when the driver's view is obstructed. 3. Within 100 feet of approaching an intersection. 4. Within 100 feet of a railroad grade crossing. These limits do not apply to traffic traveling on a one-way street or on a roadway with 2 or more lanes for travel in the same direction. When passing to the left, the law requires that a driver overtaking another vehicle do these things. 1. Sound the horn to warn the driver of the vehicle being overtaken that he or she is about to be passed. 2. Signal the intent to pass. 3. Pass to the left of the vehicle being overtaken at a safe distance and return to the right side of the roadway only after the overtaking vehicle is safely clear of the vehicle being overtaken. 4. Return to the right lane as soon as the pass has been safely completed and before coming within 200 feet of any approaching vehicle. When a driver is being passed by another vehicle, the law requires the driver of the slower vehicle to maintain a constant speed and stay to the right until the other driver has safely passed. Passing to the right. A vehicle may pass on the right only under the following conditions. 1. When the vehicle being overtaken is about to make a left turn. 2. When the pavement is wide enough for 2 or more lines of traffic moving in the same direction as the overtaking vehicle. Under either circumstance, it is essential that the driver of the passing vehicle first determine that the slower moving vehicle can be overtaken safely, and the driver must not drive off the roadway in order to overtake the slower vehicle. Speed limits. Vehicles may not be driven at speeds greater or less than reasonable, depending on conditions of traffic, road, and weather. A driver must keep the vehicle under control in order to be able to bring it to a stop within assured clear distance ahead. It is unlawful to drive at a speed exceeding 15 miles per hour in all alleys within a municipal corporation. It is unlawful to drive at a speed exceeding 20 miles per hour when passing a school building or grounds, school zones, during school recess, and while children are going to or leaving school during the opening and closing hours, and when 20-mile-per-hour school speed limit signs are erected. It is unlawful to drive at a speed exceeding 25 miles per hour in all other portions of a municipal corporation except state routes and through highways outside business districts and alleys. It is unlawful to drive at a speed exceeding 35 miles per hour on all state routes or through highways except controlled access highways within municipal corporations outside business districts. It is unlawful to drive at a speed exceeding 50 miles per hour on state routes within municipal corporations outside urban districts unless a lower speed is established visibly on a sign. It is unlawful to drive at a speed exceeding 55 miles per hour, the maximum speed limit at all times, for vehicles weighing more than 8,000 pounds and non-commercial buses. It is unlawful to drive at a speed exceeding 55 miles per hour, the maximum speed limit, on all other highways. It is unlawful to drive at a speed exceeding 60 and 65 miles per hour on designated highways for vehicles weighing 8,000 pounds or less and commercial buses. It is unlawful to drive at a speed exceeding 65 miles per hour at all times on freeways with paved shoulders inside municipal corporations unless a lower speed is established on a sign. It is unlawful to drive at a speed exceeding 65 miles per hour on rural interstates for vehicles weighing 8,000 pounds or more. Minimum speed limits. No person shall operate a vehicle at such a slow speed as to impede or block the normal and reasonable movement of traffic, except when reduced speed is necessary for safe operation or to comply with the law. Minimum speed limits are posted on controlled access highways. Racing on public roads. No driver shall participate in a race on a public road. A race consists of 2 or more vehicles starting from a point side by side and accelerating in a competitive attempt to outdistance each other, or 1 or more vehicles over a common course from the same point to the same point when the vehicles are timed for the competitive acceleration of speeds. Persons assisting in any manner in such competitive use of vehicles shall be equally charged as participants. Railroad grade crossings. Highway departments and railroad companies have clearly marked public highway rail crossings with warning signs. Advance warning signs advise drivers to look, listen, and slow down. Warning devices. Pavement markings, consisting of an X and the letters RR, may be painted on the pavement of the approach to some crossings. Railroad crossbuck signs are found at many public crossings. These signs must be obeyed the same as a yield sign. The driver should slow down and be prepared to stop upon seeing or hearing a train. If there is more than one track, a sign below the crossbuck indicates the number of tracks at the crossing. Flashing red light signals are used with crossbuck signs at many highway rail crossings. Drivers must stop no closer than 15 feet and no farther than 50 feet from the crossing when the lights are flashing. Flashing lights mean a train is coming. If there is more than one track, make sure all tracks are clear before crossing. Gates are used with flashing red light signals at certain crossings. Stop when the lights begin to flash and before the gates begin to lower across your traffic lane at no closer than 15 feet and no farther than 50 feet from the crossing. Do not attempt to cross until the gates are raised and the lights have stopped flashing. Stop signs indicate all vehicles must stop and yield. Vehicles that must stop before crossing a railroad grade outside of municipalities. 1. Motor vehicles carrying passengers for hire. 2. All school buses. 3. Vehicles carrying material or materials required to be placarded under 49 CFR Parts 100 through 185. This rule does not apply to highway rail grade crossings within a municipal corporation or to abandoned tracks, spur tracks, side tracks, and industrial tracks when the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio has authorized and approved the crossing of such tracks without making the stop required. While stopped, the operator of any of the above vehicles shall listen through an open door or window and look in both directions for an approaching train and for signals indicating the approach of a train, and shall proceed with care. Safety tips on railroad crossing safety. 1. Expect a train on any track at any time. Most trains do not travel on a regular schedule. 2. Don't get trapped on a grade crossing. Never drive onto a grade crossing until you are sure you can clear the tracks. Once you have started to cross the tracks, keep going, especially if you see a train approaching. 3. Never drive around a lowered gate. It is illegal and deadly. 4. Watch for a second train. When you are at a multiple track crossing, do not proceed until you are sure that no other train is coming on another track, especially from the opposite direction. 5. If your vehicle stalls while on the tracks and a train is approaching, unfasten your safety belt, get out of the vehicle, and run as far away from the tracks as you can. Run towards the direction the train is approaching. If you run from the train, you may be hit by debris when the train strikes your vehicle. 6. Never shift gears while crossing the tracks. If your vehicle has a manual transmission, shift down before reaching the tracks. 7. Never race a train. 8. Watch for vehicles that must stop at all highway rail grade crossings. 9. Don't misjudge the train's speed and distance. Because of the large size of the train, it appears to be moving much slower than it actually is. Trains cannot stop quickly. 10. Be alert, especially at night, for rail crossing warning signs. Be sure you can stop within the distance illuminated by your headlights. 11. Be careful and reduce your speed when obstructions block your view. Parking. A vehicle must be parked facing the direction of traffic on that side of the street, parallel to, and not more than 12 inches from the right curb. On one-way streets, vehicles may be parked parallel to and not more than 12 inches from the right or left curb. Local ordinances permit angle parking in some jurisdictions. Stopping, parking, or standing prohibited. No person shall stop, park, or stand a vehicle in any of the following places except when necessary to avoid conflict with other traffic or in compliance with the directions of a law enforcement officer or traffic control device. 1. On a sidewalk except a bicycle. 2. In front of a public or private driveway. 3. Within an intersection. 4. Within 10 feet of a fire hydrant. 5. On a crosswalk. 6. Within 20 feet of a crosswalk or intersection. 7. Within 30 feet of a flashing beacon, stop sign, or traffic control signal. 8. Between a safety zone and the adjacent curb, or within 30 feet of points on the curb immediately opposite the ends of a safety zone, unless the traffic authority indicates a different length by signs or markings. 9. Within 50 feet of the nearest rail of a railroad crossing. 10. Beside or opposite a street excavation or obstruction when such parking would obstruct traffic. 11. Alongside a vehicle stopped or parked at the edge or curb of a street. 12. On a highway bridge or within a highway tunnel. 13. At any place where signs prohibit parking. 14. Within 1 foot of another parked vehicle. 15. On a roadway portion of a freeway, expressway, or throughway. Parking for motorists with disabilities. No person shall park any motor vehicle at special parking locations designated with the handicap symbol unless the motor vehicle is displaying a state-issued parking card or special license plates for those with disabilities. Plates may be issued to persons with disabilities who own a motor vehicle or to individuals whose vehicles have been altered with special equipment to accommodate persons with disabilities. A parking card may be issued to any Ohio resident who has a mobility disability as outlined in Ohio law. The placard may be displayed in any vehicle that is transporting the person who is disabled. The special license plates and placards allow police to identify drivers legitimately using handicapped parking spots. Violators are subject to a citation and fine on private as well as public property. A prescription from their healthcare provider is required. Applications for placards or license plates may be obtained from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, 1970 West Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43223, or any Deputy Registrar License Agency. The license plates must be renewed annually through the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. The placard is valid for up to 5 years. Veterans with a service-connected disability may obtain a placard at no cost. For information, call the BMV at 1-800-589-8247. Safety belts. Ohio's mandatory safety belt usage law requires drivers and front seat occupants of most passenger vehicles to wear safety belts whenever they drive or ride in a motor vehicle on Ohio's roadways. If you are a driver under 18 years of age, the number of vehicle occupants is limited to the total number of originally installed safety belts. All occupants must be wearing safety belts when the vehicle is being driven by a probationary license holder. The law provides for a $30 fine for drivers and a $20 fine for front seat passengers found to be unbelted when stopped for another violation. This law exempts from compliance 1. Children already covered by the Child Safety Restraint Law, 2. Persons operating vehicles to deliver mail or newspapers for home delivery, 3. Persons who carry an affidavit from their physician describing the medical conditions which preclude safety belt use, and 4. Persons in vehicles manufactured before 1966. Persons in vehicles equipped with airbags are not exempt from the safety belt law. A violation of the safety belt law is not a moving violation and carries no points on your permanent driving record. Child restraints. Infants and children who are either or both under the age of 4 and weigh less than 40 pounds must be properly restrained in an approved child safety seat while being transported in a motor vehicle. The child seats you select must be labeled as meeting federal safety standards and be designed to meet the needs of your particular motor vehicle. A child safety seat law violation is a primary offense. The law applies to all drivers of all vehicles that are owned, leased, or otherwise under the control of their agency to use a car seat when transporting children. The law also applies to handicapped and medically fragile children. Exceptions: public safety vehicles, taxi cabs, and vehicles not required by law to be equipped with safety belts at the time of manufacture. Fines for a child safety seat law violation are $25 to $100 for a first offense, which is a minor misdemeanor, a $250 maximum for a second or subsequent offense, a misdemeanor of the 4th degree, and or imprisonment of not more than 30 days. The Ohio Department of Health has a toll-free number, 1-800-755-GROW, for information on child passenger safety and the law. Other resources are available on the Ohio Department of Health website, www.odh.ohio.gov. Age 4 and 40 pounds to age 8. When any child who is at least 4 years of age but less than 8 years of age is being transported in a motor vehicle, the operator of the vehicle shall have the child properly restrained in a booster seat unless the child is 4 feet 9 inches or taller. Exceptions are public safety vehicles, taxi cabs, and vehicles not required by law to be equipped with safety belts at the date of manufacture. Less than age 15. When any child who is at least 4 years of age but not older than 15 years of age is being transported in a motor vehicle, the operator of the vehicle shall have a child properly restrained either in accordance with the manufacturer's instruction in a child restraint system that meets federal motor vehicle safety standards, or in an occupant restraining device as defined in Section 4513.263 of the Revised Code. A violation of this section is a secondary offense and carries the same fine as child safety seat violations. Exemptions are public safety vehicles, taxi cabs, and vehicles not required by law to be equipped with safety belts at the time of manufacture. Obstruction of vision. Ohio law forbids vehicles to be overloaded with passengers or cargo that obstructs the driver's vision. Riding on the outside of a vehicle. No person shall hang on to or ride on the outside of any moving motor vehicle. No driver of a truck, trailer, or semi-trailer shall knowingly permit any person under the age of 16 to ride in the unenclosed or unroofed cargo storage area of the vehicle if it is traveling faster than 25 miles per hour unless any of the following apply. 1. The cargo storage area of the vehicle is equipped with a properly secured seat and a safety belt that is in compliance with federal standards for occupant restraining devices. 2. An emergency exists that threatens the life of the driver or the person being transported in the cargo storage area of the truck, trailer, or semi-trailer. 3. The passengers are workers performing specialized highway or street maintenance or construction under the authority of a public agency. Operating a vehicle while impaired, OVI. Ohio's legal drinking age for alcohol is 21. Driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs is against the law in Ohio. Evidence of impaired driving is based on physical findings by the arresting officer and the results of a blood, breath, plasma, or urine test. It is unlawful to operate a vehicle with a blood alcohol concentration, BAC, of 0.08% or higher. If you refuse to submit to a blood alcohol test, or if the result of a test taken within 3 hours of the arrest shows a BAC of 0.08% or higher, the arresting officer will confiscate your license. You may request a court hearing. In order to have this administrative suspension terminated, you must prove one of the following. 1. The officer did not have reasonable grounds of OVI. 2. The officer did not request that you take the blood alcohol test. 3. The officer did not tell you the consequences of refusing or failing the test, or 4. You did not refuse or fail the test. Administrative license suspension, refusal. If you are arrested for driving while under the influence of alcohol or any drugs of abuse, or a combination of both, or for physical control of a vehicle while under the influence, you will be requested to take a chemical test to determine the alcohol and or drug content of your blood. You also have the right to have a qualified person of your choice administer the test again once it has been conducted under the direction of a police officer, provided the second test is made. If you submit to the test and were stopped for OVI and test above the legal limit, a sworn statement will be sent to the Registrar of Motor Vehicles, who will then suspend your license for a period of 90 days to 3 years. If you refuse to take a test, a sworn statement to that effect will be sent to the Registrar of Motor Vehicles. The Registrar is then required to suspend your license for a period of 1 to 5 years for refusing to take the test, even if you are ultimately acquitted of the OVI charge. If you don't have a driver's license, you will be denied the right to apply for a license for the same period, in addition to the other penalties involved for driving without a license. Penalties. Administrative license suspension for a refusal of the BAC test will last from 1 to 5 years, depending on the number of prior refusals within 6 years. For a test failure, the administrative license suspension will last from 90 days to 3 years, depending on the number of prior OVI convictions within 6 years. Those convicted of an OVI offense are subject to the mandatory penalties of time in jail, a court-imposed driver license suspension, and a minimum of $375 to a maximum of $10,500 fine. Penalties are based upon the number of persons' OVI convictions over a 6-year period. For the first offense, at least 72 consecutive hours in jail and court license suspension from 6 months to 3 years are possible. For a second offense, at least 10 consecutive days in jail and court license suspension from 1 to 5 years. For a third offense, at least 30 consecutive days in jail and court license suspension from 1 to 10 years. For a fourth offense, at least 60 consecutive days in jail and court license suspension from 3 years to permanently revocated. The fifth or subsequent OVI offense on or after September 30, 2008 will be placed on Ohio's habitual OVI/OMVI offender registry. This registry is accessible to the public via the Internet. Those convicted of 2 or more impaired driving offenses are also subject to having their vehicle immobilized or forfeited. 4 or more impaired driving convictions within 6 years is a felony offense. If you are convicted of OVI with a BAC of 0.17% or above, you will face more severe penalties. The penalties, if you refuse to submit to a chemical test, have a prior OVI conviction within the previous 20 years, and are subsequently convicted of OVI, will also be severe. To regain a suspended license, all ALS and/or OVI offenders must pay a $475 reinstatement fee and show proof of a policy for liability insurance or bond. Motorists who are convicted of vehicular homicide or aggravated vehicular homicide and are judged to have been under the influence of alcohol or drugs at the time of the offense will, in addition to other penalties, suffer permanent loss of driving privileges. .02 BAC for drivers under 21 years old. The law authorizes police to file charges against drivers under the age of 21 who have a blood alcohol concentration, BAC, of at least 0.02% but less than 0.08%. The offense is called operating a vehicle after underage consumption. The penalties include driver license suspension for not less than 60 days but not more than 2 years, as well as taking a remedial driving course and the complete driver license examination prior to reissuance of your driver license and 4 points assessed to your license. There will also be a license reinstatement fee, and you will be required to show proof of a policy for liability insurance or bond. Drugs. Ohio law also forbids driving under the influence of drugs or a combination of alcohol and drugs. Even prescription and over-the-counter medications can have detrimental effects on your driving ability. False driver license. No person can use a falsified driver license or one that has been altered or belongs to someone else to buy alcoholic beverages. The penalty for this law is an automatic 1-year suspension of driving privileges. The law also provides that anyone loaning or knowingly permitting a minor to use a driver license to buy alcohol can be sentenced to 6 months in jail and pay fines up to $1,000. Point law. Any Ohio driver convicted of a traffic violation is assessed a specific number of penalty points according to the type of violation. Should that driver be convicted of a second or subsequent offense within 2 years after the first violation, the point assessment for the new violation is added to the previous total. The number of penalty points given to a violator are assessed by the court system. Following is a system of point assessments for specific violations. 6-point violations. Homicide by vehicle. Operating a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol and/or any drug of abuse. Failure to stop and disclose identity at the scene of a collision. Willfully fleeing or eluding a law enforcement officer. Racing. Operating a vehicle without the consent of the owner, or using a vehicle in the commission of a felony, or committing any crime punishable as a felony under Ohio motor vehicle laws. 4-point violations. Willful or wanton disregard of the safety of persons or property. 2-point violations. All moving violations and some speed offenses. Operating a motor vehicle in violation of a restriction imposed by the Registrar of the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Speeding violations. A speeding violation may result in 4 points, 2 points, or no points, depending on the speed limit in effect and the number of miles per hour by which the speed limit was exceeded. Exceeding any speed limit by 30 miles per hour or more results in 4 points. If the speed limit is 55 miles per hour or more, exceeding the limit by more than 10 but less than 30 miles per hour results in 2 points. If the speed limit is less than 55 miles per hour, exceeding the limit by more than 5 but less than 30 miles per hour results in 2 points. Exceeding any speed limit in an amount less than stated above results in no points. Penalties. A driver who has accumulated 6 points in a 2-year period will receive a letter from the Registrar of Motor Vehicles warning that the law provides the following penalties for drivers accumulating 12 or more points in a 2-year period. 1. Driving privileges will be suspended for 6 months. 2. Proof of financial responsibility must be filed with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles and maintained for 3 years to 5 years. 3. After the suspension is served, a remedial driving course approved by the Director of the Ohio Department of Public Safety must be taken. The course must include a minimum of 25% of the number of classroom hours devoted to instruction on driver attitude. 4. Pay a reinstatement fee of $40. 5. Must take the complete driver exam. Driving under suspension. Operating a motor vehicle while your license is under suspension is a first-degree misdemeanor, and if convicted, you are subject to a fine of up to $1,000. You may also be sentenced to an additional 1-year driver license suspension. 2-point credit. A person who has accumulated at least 2 but not more than 11 points for traffic violations may earn a 2-point credit toward his or her driving record by completing an approved remedial driving course. For the names of schools offering such a course in your area, go to www.drivertraining.ohio.gov and click on Approved Schools. Note: the 2-point credit offered under this program does not mean that any conviction is erased from your official driving record, or that your insurance company will not count all prior convictions against you when setting premium rates. All convictions remain on your record, but the points needed for the 12-point suspension are extended by 2. Senate Bill 123, effective January 1, 2004, permits individuals to enroll in remedial driving classes in order to receive a 2-point credit up to 5 times in a lifetime, once every 3 years. Financial responsibility. Owners and operators of motor vehicles in Ohio must carry a minimum amount of liability coverage in order to legally operate or permit the operation of a motor vehicle. When you apply for Ohio license plates and for a new, renewal, or duplicate driver license, you will need to provide the acceptable documents and sign a sworn statement that you will not operate a motor vehicle without liability insurance or another form of financial responsibility in effect. As an Ohio driver, you must be able to show proof of financial responsibility any time you receive a moving traffic violation, when you are convicted of a moving traffic violation that requires a court appearance, when you are involved in a traffic accident that requires the filing of an accident report under Section 4509.06 of the Revised Code, or upon receipt of a random verification by mail. Proof must also be shown when a motor vehicle owned by you, but driven by someone else, is involved in a moving traffic violation or reportable traffic crash. To comply with the law, liability coverage of $25,000 to $50,000 for personal injury or death, and $25,000 for property damage is required. You may, as an alternative, post a personal bond to cover liability at that level, establish a $30,000 certificate of deposit with the state treasurer, or file a certificate of self-insurance when you own more than 25 motor vehicles. Penalties for failing to show proof of financial responsibility include impoundment of vehicle registration and license plates by the court or BMV, suspension of your driver's license and registration until fee and issuance requirements are met on the first offense, 1 year on the second offense, and 2 years on additional offenses plus court costs. The court may grant limited driving privileges on the second offenses after 15 days of the suspension time served, and on third or subsequent offenses after 30 days of the suspension time served. Offenders may also have their motor vehicles immobilized or forfeited. There are fees for the reinstatement of driving privileges, and suspended individuals must also file proof of financial responsibility with the BMV in the form of an SR-22 or bond. If the filing is canceled for any reason during the required time frame, the individual will be resuspended until a new filing is received and processed by the BMV. Every Ohio law enforcement officer is an agent of the BMV for purposes of enforcing this law. Each is authorized to confiscate the driver license, plates, and registration of any Ohio driver who currently is under an order of suspension or impoundment. Occasions requiring proof of financial responsibility with the BMV. The BMV requires that proof of financial responsibility must also be filed for 3 years when anyone accumulates 12 or more points within a 2-year period. If you do not buy the coverage or drop it, the state will suspend your driving privileges. The filing requirement also applies to the owner and/or operator involved in a traffic crash who cannot show proof of financial responsibility at the time of the crash. Suspension of probationary license under 18 years of age. The Registrar of Motor Vehicles will automatically suspend for 90 days the driver license of any person who is convicted of or pleads guilty to 2 moving violations. All driving privileges will be denied for 1 year for 3 moving violations. You may petition the court in which the last conviction was received for limited driving privileges. Before your driving privileges can be reinstated, you must comply with all of the reinstatement requirements. pay reinstatement fee, complete juvenile driver improvement course, purchase temporary instruction permit identification card, and complete driver license exam. Signs, signals, and pavement markings. Knowledge of signs, signals, and pavement markings is a necessity for safe driving. In order to pass your driving test and to prepare for highway travel, you should know and be able to explain the meaning and use of the following signs, signals, and pavement markings. Special information signs. Ohio has a law which requires the drivers and front seat passengers in most cars and trucks to wear their safety belts whenever they ride on Ohio roadways. This special information sign serves as a reminder for motorists to buckle up. You are approaching a section of the highway having a lower speed limit. Warning signs. Warning signs adjacent to the roadways alert motorists to potentially hazardous conditions. Most of these signs retain their traditional yellow color as well as their diamond shape, but on many of the signs, words have been replaced by symbols as illustrated below. The circle is reserved for railroad crossing signs. You are approaching a curve to the right, then to the left. Railroad crossing ahead. You are approaching a downgrade. May be supplemented with trucks use low gear. You are approaching a curve to the left, then to the right. Sharp turn to the left ahead. Sharp turn to the right ahead. Sharp turn to the left, then to the right. Sharp turn to the right, then to the left. Crossroad ahead, intersection. Another road enters from the right. Another road enters from the left. You are approaching an intersection. Turn right or left. The road branches to the right and left ahead. You are approaching a series of curves. Slow down. Drive carefully. Proceed with caution. The vehicle closest to the bridge has the right-of-way. The road ahead is slippery when wet. Clearance is limited by a bridge, overhead, crosswalk, etc. Traffic is moving in both directions. A flashing red signal means all traffic shall stop before entering intersections. A flashing yellow signal means all traffic shall pass through the intersection with caution. No passing. The pennant No Passing Zone sign can be used to supplement the Do Not Pass regulatory sign. Crossings. A variety of symbol signs mark locations on highways where people, animals, or bicycles frequently cross the road. Advanced warning signs. Bicycle crossing. Deer crossing. Signs erected at crossings. Pedestrian crossing. Crosswalk for disabled. Schools. Emphasis has been given to the school and school crosswalk signs through the use of a pentagon shape. The school sign warns motorists that they are approaching a school zone, while the school crosswalk sign identifies established crossings where children are directed to cross a roadway. Approaching a school zone. School crosswalk. Merge divided highway. The importance of merge and pavement width transition signs is to warn traffic by the use of arrows to illustrate the changes in traffic patterns. Two-lane highway ends. Divided highway begins. Divided highway ends. Two-lane highway begins. Traffic merging from right. Merge left. Right lane ends ahead. Special. This symbol is reserved for use on the rear of slow-moving vehicles only, including farm machinery. It is triangular and is colored bright orange with a red border. Old Orner Amish groups, which are forbidden by religion to display bright colors, can use alternative reflective materials that include gray, white, black, or silver, and must cover an area of at least 72 square inches. The slow-moving vehicle sign indicates that special care must be taken when sharing the road with such a vehicle. Extra patience and caution must be exercised when passing slow-moving vehicles. You are approaching the rear of a slow-moving vehicle. Drive with caution. Pass with care. Construction. Warning signs in the construction series have a distinctive orange background. When motorists see an orange sign, they should be alert, reduce speed, and watch for workers and equipment on the highway. On highways that have been closed for construction or repair and appropriate signs have been erected, the motorist must not drive upon, along, or across the highway. Guide signs. Depending on the type of message, these signs may be green and white, brown and white, or blue and white. Route markers along with green and white destination and distance signs provide guidance. Service signs are white on blue and provide directions to service facilities such as rest areas, hospitals, and campgrounds. Guide signs directing motorists to public parks and recreational areas have a brown background. Vehicles. Traffic control signs are designed for the purpose of regulating, warning, or guiding vehicular and pedestrian traffic. Stop. Clearance a vehicle within intersection. Go. Stop. Clearance a vehicle within intersection. Ahead only. Left only. Stop. Clearance a vehicle within intersection. Turn. Stop. Clearance a vehicle within intersection. Ahead only. Right only. Pedestrian. A flashing "don't walk" or "stop" hand signal allows people already in the street to finish crossing. Pedestrians on the curb should not enter the intersection when the light is flashing. A steady "don't walk" or "stop" hand signal warns pedestrians it is illegal to enter the intersection. Pedestrian symbol lights and hand symbol lights are used in the same sequence as above. Regulatory signs. These signs regulate the movement of traffic. Do not enter signs have been installed at the intersections of one-way roads and at freeway exit ramps. Stop. All traffic in this lane must stop before proceeding. School speed limit 20 during restricted hours. All traffic must observe posted speed limits in school zones during restricted hours. Yield. Stop only if other traffic is affected. Look and give way to all oncoming traffic. Do not enter. Used at intersections of one-way roads and at freeway exit ramps. Reserved parking. Handicapped parking only. Vehicles must display handicapped license plate or placard to use designated area. Prohibitory signs. The red circle and a slash is standard for all prohibitory signs and represents the word no. Whenever this symbol appears on a sign, the illustrated action is prohibited. No left turn permitted. U-turns are not permitted. No right turn permitted. Bicycles are not permitted. Pavement markings. A. Yellow lines indicate the separation of traffic flow in opposing directions. Thus, all broken lines on two-way, two-lane highways are yellow. Broken yellow lines permit passing, while solid yellow lines still indicate that passing is prohibited. B. Multi-lane, two-way roadways with exclusive left turn lanes in the middle are frequently used in urban areas. The center left turn lane is marked with overhead or roadside signs. The lane must not be used for passing. It may be entered only to make the turning movement. Vehicles from either direction may use the lane immediately prior to making a left turn. Yellow lines are also used for left edge lines on one-way roadways. White lines are used as right edge lines on roadways and to delineate the separation of traffic flow in the same direction. Solid white lines are also typically used as the lane line in areas where lane changing is discouraged. In essence, tunnels or bridges having width restrictions, interchange areas where lane changes disrupt traffic flow, and in advance of intersections. Section 8. Traffic Crash Reporting Requirements. What to do in case of a crash. 1. Stop. 2. Take immediate steps to warn approaching traffic. 3. Aid the injured. Don't move them, but keep them warm. 4. Notify proper authorities, either the Ohio State Highway Patrol, sheriff, or local police. 5. Give your name and address to any person who is injured or to the owner, operator, occupant, or attendant of the other vehicle or vehicles. 6. Gather the following information identifying any other driver in the crash and anyone involved at the scene. Most of it must be provided by law on a motor vehicle crash report and will be helpful in resolving matters relating to the crash. Names, addresses, and dates of birth of involved parties. License plate numbers. Driver license numbers. Name and address of vehicle owner if other than the driver. Circumstances of crash, such as weather, condition of the road, and traffic controls. year, make, and model of vehicles involved. Name and address of other driver's insurance company. 7. Answer all of the investigating officer's questions, but do not discuss the crash with others. 8. Trade facts with any other driver, but do not discuss fault or insurance coverage. 9. If involved in a crash with an unattended vehicle, you must report the crash to the police or leave necessary information at the scene. 10. The driver of a vehicle which is involved in a motor vehicle crash may file Form BMV 3303 Crash Report, available at www.ohiobmv.com, with the BMV within 6 months after the crash if both the following apply. 1. There was damage in excess of $400, and 2. The driver or owner of the other vehicle did not have insurance or other financial responsibility coverage at the time of the crash. 11. Notify your insurance company as soon as possible. What to do in case you hit a deer. If you hit a deer and cause its death, you may take possession of the deer by law as long as you report the collision to a game protector or other law enforcement officer within 24 hours. The protector or officer will then investigate and issue a certificate entitling you to the carcass. It is illegal to take a deer carcass without reporting it. Section 9. Special Conditions. Night driving. When driving at night, maintain a cautious, reasonable speed. By driving at a reasonable speed, you will be able to stop in the distance illuminated by your headlights. When you are closely following another vehicle, and another vehicle is approaching yours, be sure to dim your headlights. Use the upper beams only for driving in open country with a clear road ahead. If a car approaches you with bright lights on, do not stare at the lights. Steer by the line at the outside edge of the road to prevent being temporarily blinded. Pedestrians walking alongside the roads or crossing streets do not realize that motorists cannot see them. Be sure to watch for pedestrians. Keep your windows clean. Glare caused by lights shining on dirty glass reduces visibility at night. Fatigue, which slows down perception and reaction time, is a significant factor in nighttime crashes. Be sure to pull off of the road and rest if you are tired. Lighting. Lights must be displayed 1. Between sunset and sunrise. 2. During any period of rain, snow, fog, or other unfavorable atmospheric conditions, regardless of the time of day. 3. At any other time when natural light conditions do not make it possible to see objects 1,000 feet ahead clearly. 4. At any time windshield wipers are used. Winter driving. When roads are snow-covered or icy, reduce your speed. Driving in the winter is much different than driving in any other season of the year. No matter what road or weather conditions are encountered, a slower speed is necessary for safe handling of your automobile. Be sure that your car is in excellent operating condition. Lights, brakes, windshield wipers, defroster, radiator, and other parts of the car should be in perfect order, particularly for the winter. Snow tires are a good precaution. Tire chains can be a big help in severe snow and ice conditions. Keep a vent or window slightly open. This will help the windshield remain clear of fog and also guard against possible carbon monoxide buildup. Remember, shaded spots on the highway will hold frost and ice while other portions of the pavement are dry. The same is true of bridges, which will hold frost and ice while the rest of the road may be safe. In the winter, it is often necessary to stop suddenly. To prevent skidding, intermittently apply light pressure to the brakes. Anti-lock brake systems do not require pumping. This pumping action will reduce momentum without losing traction and without locking the brakes. If your vehicle does go into a skid, take your foot off the accelerator and turn the steering wheel in the direction of the skid. Never apply the brakes while skidding. When starting a car that is parked on top of ice, move very slowly. The tires will have a better chance to grip if they are turned slowly. Starting in second or a low gear will also help. Put a greater distance than usual between you and other vehicles. This is necessary because cars need a greater stopping distance on slippery roads. Driving in fog. Fog is one of the most hazardous conditions a motorist can drive in. Because most motorists drive slowly in fog, few collisions occur. However, when collisions do occur, there are often chain reaction crashes on the freeway, resulting in fatalities and serious extensive damage. When driving in fog, slow down. You may have to stop at any time. If the stopping distance for the speed you are traveling is greater than the distance you can see in front of you, you will be unable to stop if there is an obstruction on the road. Use your low beam headlights, not your brights. Move with the flow of traffic. Keep a consistent distance behind the car in front of you so the cars behind you may do the same. If you are involved in a collision, get your car off the road as quickly as possible. If you cannot move your vehicle, leave your flashers and lights on and set up flares if you have them. Don't sit in the car waiting for help. Cautiously move as far off the road as possible. Drive with your window open. Shift your gaze instead of staring. Freeway driving. Getting onto an expressway. If you are aware that you will have to make a left-hand turn onto a freeway entrance ramp, do not wait until the last second to get into the left turn lane. Move into the turn lane several blocks early. Once you enter the on-ramp, accelerate. If your car is moving 30 miles per hour, it will be nearly impossible to merge with traffic moving almost twice as fast. When you reach the end of a freeway on-ramp, weather and ramp condition permitting, you should be traveling as close as possible to the speed of traffic. Always use your turn signal to let other drivers know that you are planning to pull into the stream of traffic. As you reach the end of the ramp, keep a close eye on the car ahead and use your outside mirror to help spot a likely opening. As the driver entering the highway, you are required to yield to motorists already on the freeway. They have the right-of-way. However, if you are moving at or near the speed of the surrounding cars, it should be simple to merge with the traffic flow. The traffic movement. Once you are in a lane, stay in it. Do not weave in and out of lanes. Observe and obey signs. Moving at a fast speed means that you will need more room between you and the car ahead of you in case of an emergency. Follow no closer than 1 car length for every 10 miles of speed. Remember the 3-second rule. Maintain your speed at or just below the posted speed limit. Moving significantly slower than other traffic can cause a hazard. Watch for signs noting changes in speed limits, especially when you approach construction zones or a heavily populated area. To get off an expressway, watch for signs, signal your proper turnoff, and move to the correct exit lane. Use your turn signal to indicate when and where you will be exiting. Stay at the speed of traffic until you reach the exit ramp, then slow down. Continue to slow down and stop if required before entering the cross highway or street. If you miss your exit, take the next one. It is illegal to stop, to back, or to drive into the median or cross over on an interstate highway. If you feel tired while you are driving, be on guard against highway monotony. As stated earlier, fatigue is a significant factor in highway crashes. Follow these simple steps to avoid fatigue. Play the radio. Engage in light conversation. Stop periodically to stretch your legs and have a cup of coffee or a cold drink. Do not continue to drive if you become too tired. Pull off the road and rest. When to use lights. Lights must be displayed between sunset and sunrise and during any periods of rain, snow, fog, or other unfavorable atmospheric conditions, regardless of the time of day. Lights also need to be used at any time when natural light conditions do not make it possible to clearly see objects 1,000 feet ahead. Lights must be used whenever windshield wipers are used. Vehicle problems. If a tire blows out. Blowout when traveling at a high rate of speed is dangerous, especially if the driver does not realize it. Follow these tips for a safe recovery. Do not panic. Keep your foot off the accelerator and let the vehicle coast until it stops. When the blowout is a rear tire, sudden application to the brakes will set up a tail sway, which is difficult to control. If your wheels run off the pavement. It is possible that at one time or another, your vehicle's wheels will run off the pavement onto the berm or soft shoulder. If this occurs, follow these tips to return safely on the road. Do not try to jerk the tires immediately back onto the road. Stop accelerating. Allow the vehicle to coast to a slower speed. When the car has slowed, gradually steer back onto the roadway. As soon as all 4 wheels are on the pavement, straighten the front wheels and proceed with traffic. Defensive driving. Learn to be a defensive driver. Watch out for the other driver's mistakes. Listening to this manual carefully will help you know what to watch for, but this is not always enough. Many adults have benefited by taking a defensive driving course sponsored by the National Safety Council at work or through a local safety council. If you are interested in taking a defensive driving course, contact your local safety council. Sharing the road with trucks, no zone. Trucks have limitations in terms of maneuverability, stopping distance, and blind spots. Generally speaking, the bigger they are, the bigger their blind spots, the more room they need to maneuver, the longer it takes them to stop, and the longer it takes them to pass. Many of the crashes involving trucks could be avoided if motorists remembered a truck's limitations. Steer clear of unsafe situations involving trucks. Mail carrier vehicles. When following a mail carrier vehicle, all traffic laws regarding stopping and passing apply. Inoperable traffic signals. At times, power outages can result in non-working traffic signals. This situation can be extremely dangerous, particularly when a law enforcement officer is not present to direct traffic at the disabled traffic light. By law, except when a law enforcement officer is present to direct traffic, drivers must treat the non-working traffic signal as a four-way stop. After stopping, due care should be taken before proceeding through the intersection, as other drivers may wrongfully view the inoperable traffic signal as clearance to proceed without stopping. Section 10. Bicycles. Traffic laws. Bicyclists must ride with, not against, other vehicular traffic. Only when walking a bicycle is a bicyclist permitted to travel facing traffic. Bicyclists are required to obey all traffic signs, signals, and pavement markings. Bicyclists must use appropriate hand signals before turning or stopping. Alternative right turn signal is right hand and arm extended horizontally and to the right side of the bicycle. Bicyclists must keep to the right edge of the roadway, allowing faster traffic to safely pass. Bicyclists can travel in the middle of the lane if they are proceeding at the same speed as the rest of the traffic or the lane is too narrow to share safely with a motor vehicle. Conditions that may require riding away from the edge of the roadway includes when necessary to avoid fixed or moving objects, parked or moving vehicles, surface hazards, or if it is otherwise unsafe or impracticable to do so. Bicyclists should not pass over traffic on a hill or at an intersection. Bicyclists must stop at a curb to allow emergency vehicles to pass. Bicyclists must observe speed restrictions in school zones and speed limits in general. State law also permits local governments to regulate bicycle operation, such as requiring bicycle licensing and registration. Bicyclists must familiarize themselves with local ordinances to be properly educated about all of the laws affecting them. Bicycle laws. Bicyclists must never ride on the freeway or attach themselves to other vehicles using the roadway. Bicyclists should ride upon or astride the permanent attached seat of the bicycle. Passengers should not be carried unless the bike is equipped for it, and at least one hand should be kept on the handlebars at all times. Bicyclists should ride no more than two abreast in a single lane, except on paths set aside for the exclusive use of bicycles. Every bicycle ridden after dark must be equipped with a white headlight, a red tail light, and a red rear reflector. A bicycle may be equipped with a device capable of giving an audible signal, except that a bicycle shall not be equipped with, nor shall any person use upon a bicycle any siren or whistle. Every bicycle must have an adequate brake. Sharing the road with bicyclists. A motorist must share the road with bicycles. The bicyclist has the same right to use the public road as any other driver except freeways. Ohio Revised Code 4511.52. A motorist must maintain a safety zone of approximately 3 feet between the car and the bicyclist. A motorist must pass a bicyclist only when it can be done safely. A motorist must leave ample room when turning right after passing a bicyclist, so the bicyclist is not cut off when the motorist slows for the turn. Section 11. Pedestrians. Under the motor vehicle laws of Ohio, pedestrians have definite rights as well as certain duties and responsibilities in traffic. Knowledge of traffic laws is the pedestrian's best defense in traffic and the best protection against death or injury in a crash. Signs and signals. Pedestrians, as well as vehicle drivers, are subject to traffic control signs and signals. For instance, they may walk on the green light in the direction of traffic for which they have the right-of-way. When crossing streets, pedestrians should watch for drivers turning on red. Pedestrian control signals. Whenever special pedestrian control signals or other traffic control devices exhibit the words walk, don't walk, or wait, pedestrians should be guided as follows. Walk. Pedestrians facing this signal may proceed across the roadway in the direction of the signal and will be given the right-of-way by the drivers of all other vehicles. Don't walk or wait. No pedestrian may start to cross the roadway. Look in both directions. Pedestrians should not step onto a public road or highway without looking in both directions to see what vehicles may be approaching in traffic. They should not leave a sidewalk or place of safety and walk or run into the path of a vehicle that is so close that it is an immediate hazard. Use crosswalk. No pedestrian shall cross a roadway within a municipality at a place other than a crosswalk, marked or unmarked. When not crossing at a crosswalk, the pedestrian must yield the right-of-way to vehicular traffic. Walking along roadway. When usable walks or paths parallel to the street or highway are present, pedestrians shall not walk in, along, or upon the vehicular portion of the roadway. When there is no usable sidewalk, pedestrians are required to walk on the road's shoulder or berm where possible. When this is not possible, they must walk as near as possible to the edge of the road, facing oncoming traffic. These requirements apply to joggers as well as walkers. Pedestrians prohibited on freeways. No pedestrian is permitted within the limits of the right-of-way of a freeway, except within a rest area, in the performance of public works, or as a result of an emergency or a breakdown of a motor vehicle. Drawbridges and railroads. Pedestrians are prohibited from drawbridges after the bridge operation signal has been given. Similarly, people afoot are banned from crossing a railroad track when a barrier is down and/or lights are flashing. Hitching. Soliciting a ride from the driver of a vehicle while on a roadway outside a safety zone is forbidden. Standing on a highway to solicit business or contributions is also forbidden. Public safety vehicles. People afoot must yield the right-of-way to public safety vehicles, ambulances, police, fire vehicles, and so forth, approaching with siren sounding and lights flashing. Blind pedestrians. People who are blind are the only pedestrians authorized by law to carry white canes or white canes with red tips. The law provides that the blind carrying such canes, as well as those with guide dogs, are to be given the right-of-way by every driver. Alcohol and drugs. Persons under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or both are prohibited from walking on highways. Reflective clothing. When walking at night, pedestrians are advised to wear reflective strips or clothing to aid motorists in seeing them. Throwing or dropping objects on highways. It is prohibited by Ohio law to throw or drop any object on a road or highway. A person who accidentally drops an object on a highway must remove it immediately. The law provides stiff penalties for deliberately throwing objects on highways, and if injury or death results, the person at fault could be charged with assault or murder. Section 12. Litter laws. Under Ohio law, litter is any trash thrown, discarded, or dropped by a person onto public property, private property not owned by the individual, or into Ohio's waterways. Ohio Revised Code prohibits littering, regardless of whether or not it was intentional. Littering is a serious offense, punishable by fines of up to $1,000 and/or 6 months in jail. Municipalities may apply local litter laws in addition to these listed. Littering from a motor vehicle. Littering from a motor vehicle is a violation of state law. Drivers can be cited for littering, just as they are for other traffic violations, and can also be held responsible for litter discarded by their passengers. Unsecured load. No vehicle shall be driven or moved on any highway unless the vehicle is so constructed, loaded, or covered as to prevent any of its load from dropping, shifting, leaking, or otherwise escaping. Sand or other substances may be dropped for the purpose of securing traction. Water or another substance may be sprinkled on a roadway in cleaning or maintaining the roadway. Other exceptions to this law include farm vehicles transporting agricultural products and trash vehicles in the process of acquiring their loads. Littering and illegal dumping. Leaving any trash or discarded items on any public or private land or waterway can result in fines or jail time. State law also prohibits the placement of trash in someone else's trash receptacle without permission from the owner, unless the receptacle is intended for public use, or the trash was generated on the property where the receptacle is located. Polluting state lands or waters. Littering on state land or in any ditch, stream, river, lake, pond, or other watercourse which is part of a larger surface or groundwater system is prohibited. The penalties apply if the litter is close enough to a body of water to be pulled in during flooding. Throwing refuse, oil, or filth into lakes, streams, or drains. Dumping coal refuse, petroleum, and petroleum products into public waterways is a violation of state law. Littering from a boat. Littering or failing to retrieve litter that blows from watercraft is prohibited. Abandoned motor vehicles. Leaving a junked motor vehicle on private property without the consent of the owner for more than 72 hours is a violation of state law. Abandoned appliances. State law requires the removal of latches, hinges, or other hardware of any airtight or semi-airtight container left in any area accessible to children. Sample test questions from Class D Knowledge Test. Question number 1. What is the most important driving technique to avoid crashes when driving in icy or snowy conditions? A. Add extra weight to the vehicle to improve traction. B. Get off the highways as quickly as possible. C. Engage four-wheel drive on the vehicle. Or D. Reduce speed and increase following distance. The correct answer is D. Reduce speed and increase following distance. Question number 2. A flashing red traffic signal at an intersection has the same requirements as which of the following? A. A slow sign. B. A yield sign. C. A stop sign. D. An intersection sign. The correct answer is C. A stop sign. Question number 3. The application for an operator's license must be signed by the parent or guardian when the applicant is under what age? A. 16. B. 20. C. 21. D. 18. The correct answer is D. 18. Question number 4. Unless it is posted otherwise, the speed limit in a residential area is A. 25 miles per hour, B. 20 miles per hour, C. 35 miles per hour, D. 15 miles per hour. The correct answer is A. 25 miles per hour. Question number 5. Child restraints are required for which of the following? A. All children who are under the age of 8 and are less than 4 feet 9 inches. B. All children for whom the driver of the car is the parent or guardian. C. All children who are seated in the front seat. D. All children who are under the age of 6 when airbags are not available. The correct answer is A. All children who are under the age of 8 and are less than 4 feet 9 inches. 6. When traveling on a highway divided into 4 traffic lanes, which vehicles are required to stop for a school bus that is stopped to unload children? A. Only vehicles approaching the rear of the bus traveling in the same direction as the bus. B. All vehicles approaching the bus from either direction. C. No one is required to stop unless children are in view. D. All vehicles may pass the bus after providing an audible signal. The correct answer is A. Only vehicles approaching the rear of the bus traveling in the same direction as the bus. Question number 7. When 2 vehicles arrive at an intersection at the same time, which one has the right-of-way when no signs or signals indicate rules? A. The car approaching from the right has the right-of-way. B. The car approaching from the left has the right-of-way. C. The car in which the driver sounds his horn first has the right-of-way. D. The car that is traveling faster has the right-of-way. The correct answer is A. The car approaching from the right has the right-of-way. Question number 8. If someone has consumed alcoholic drinks, what will help the person overcome the influence of those drinks? A. Tomato juice and lime. B. Hot coffee. C. Fresh air. D. Time. The correct answer is D. Time. Question number 9. When is a driver permitted to turn right on a red traffic signal? A. When the driver has stopped and checked to see that the turn will not interfere with crossing traffic. B. When signs are clearly posted to allow a right turn on red. C. only at the direction of a police officer. D. After first slowing and verifying the turn will interfere with other traffic and pedestrians. The correct answer is A. When the driver has stopped and checked to see that the turn will not interfere with crossing traffic. Question number 10. When a stop is required at an intersection and no markings appear to indicate a stop line or crosswalk, which of the following is the appropriate place to make the stop? A. The driver is not required to stop. B. The driver is required to slow down to make sure crossing traffic is clear. C. Only at a place where the driver can see at least 200 feet on either side without regard for the intersecting roadway. D. At the point nearest the intersecting roadway, where the driver has a view of approaching traffic on the intersecting roadway before actually entering the roadway. The correct answer is D. At the point nearest the intersecting roadway where the driver has a view of approaching traffic on the intersecting roadway before actually entering the roadway.